Good evening, Final Fantasy 1 Randomizer fans! I am your host, Kyu Kitsuki. Tonight, we have another epic match of Week 1 proportions. Walk the Plank, Spring Season 2019. This week, we have a White Mage Forced Captain class, and we made the Thief walk the plank. We have your standard extended open progression on the table. We have your Ice Cave, your Marsh Cave, and your Ordeals are your incentivized locations, in addition to all those quest NPCs. Tonight I am joined by ShadowWalker227. How are you doing, my fine friend?
I'm doing great. This should be a great match. We've got trintongl, who's been a regular with the community for a long time. Does a lot of admin and behind-the-scenes work, but occasionally he actually gets around to playing a seed. And Mezada, who is a brand new member of the community, joined just after our YouTube exclusive stream. So this should be a fine match between these two, and I'm looking to see an exciting match with even parties, as we're both taking Fighter Rainbow today.
Fighter Rainbow indeed. I mean, if you want the classic vanilla flavor of most randomizer comps, this is it. I mean, what else can we say about this one? I mean, what were we going to find on this early magic tree? What are we going to find in the weapon shop? And where are we going to find those towns?
Only time will tell. But we've got two runners ready to go, so they will be getting the green light very short.
As we should let them do that, and they're going to be getting ready in just 10 seconds. So get hyped, Random Mania Network. Feel the heat, feel the rhythm, feel the jive. It's running time. As they're getting off.
Alright, so we are out of the gates, and we're going to be checking some magic.
That's a great find right off the bat with Cure 4 in the White Magic Shop. And we get a Brack and a Saber. Saber, a lesser used spell, especially since it really is only useful in the Red Mage in this particular party comp.
Yeah, but as you mentioned, Cure 4 in Viz 2 is another great White Magic spell that we've got at level 1. And both of those spells available to both the Red Mage and the Knight after class promotion. So that's going to be some great white magic to get us going. Brack's going to be enough to take out some early game enemies, as well as a couple of bosses we might see some Brack.
Indeed, indeed. We also had gold bracelets for sale.
Gold bracelets for sale, saw silver swords for sale in the weapon shop, and some pricey houses are our early game save items. 1900 a pop, so definitely a little bit on the expensive side. Trenton tries to punch some imps and decides that it's not working so well for him, so he resets out.
Indeed, indeed.
Mezada, meanwhile, is almost into Temple of Fiends now. Just getting interrupted by a Mad Pony on his way in.
Interesting technique.
Give us...
Going down to the bottom chest first. I typically see a lot of runners kind of go for that top chest as you get two chests right out the bat. And it seems to be easier to get out once you kind of know what you're working with.
I think it tends to be fewer steps if you go left and then up, and then loop back to Garland in your way. But either way, it's viable. We got some gazing zombies giving us the paralyze and a coral sword and a little bit of cash to get us started. So that's going to be a great starter.
Indeed, indeed. Getting that fighter an early game weapon unfortunately loses it to the creep, but it is what it is.
Yeah, fortunately, Brack's going to do the job early against single targets, so hopefully this one Brack cast will take down Garland. Unfortunately, it looks like Mezada did not quite pick up Cure 4 for his White Mage just yet, but Brack gets the job done, and we are through Garland.
And look at that, look at that. Not only do we have a an angsty princess with a big stick of TNT, but we get the ship right off the bat. That opens up a lot of the world right from the get-go out of Corneria. As we have a free canal this seed, so you can just get right out into the open sea if you want to with this early start.
Yeah, that ship opens a ton of the world. Canoe being the other, the big early game travel option, and eventually we'll find that floater to get our airship, but off to the seas it is.
So I'm expecting that what we'll probably end up seeing is a case of you're going to grab that ship, you're going to take it over to the dwarf dock, and then go talk to our good friend Narek back in the dwarf cave. Now you could also make two other plays, in my opinion. You could, three other plays. You could go up and use the ship to get to the Provoca location, check the town there. You could take the ship, go down to the Elfin location, and check the town there. Or you could potentially just go out to the open sea and say, hey, I'm going to go check Moment and potentially Onrock.
Yeah, I really like the early plays at the towns. Checking Provoca makes a lot of sense. Checking Elfin makes a lot of sense. I think I would personally go check those two first, and then maybe hit up Melmond on my way out of the Inner Sea. But lots of options available to our runners starting out with that ship. I'll be real curious to see what our runners do with it.
Trenton looks like he's struggling with Garland. Again, with that lack of early save, it's definitely a detriment if you just can't get the right combination of encounters and truns to get through.
So Imps with Invis 2 are just eating up a little bit of Trenton's time here, being no friends at all. Have to sit through a long animation, and Provoca today is LaFang.
Okay. Well, you know, with Provoca being LaFang, that's not really that helpful. I mean, unless you want to get your loofah on.
Yeah, looks like a little bit of a rough start for our runners. We've got LaFang and Provoca, and we've got Gaia at Elfland, so lots of high-level magic and expensive pro rings, too. So not the most convenient. There we go. Trenton gets the Brack off, gets through Garland. He's going to find his ship in TNT, and he's going to be off to explore.
Off sailing away, and looks like Mezada's a little confused from the looks of it, or... Oh, you just wanted to stay at the end. Okay. I mean, with only the houses out of Corneria, it's nice once you have money, but with no money, that's kind of a detriment. So you kind of want those cheap save items right off the bat.
Yeah, Mezada tries to stay at the end, but Gaia's Inn is a 5-star hotel, so costs a whopping 202 gold, and that's a little bit out of his price range just yet. Trying to brack down some of these ogres and gur-ogres, and finally gets it. Gonna finally get some levels for that red mage, level 3 and 4 for his mages now. That'll give him the money that he needs to stay at the end.
Unfortunately, looks like he lost a fighter in the process, so, I mean, how much is it going to cost to res him? Maybe you potentially just go back up to Corneria to get the res after you stay at the inn.
Yeah, this is a rough start, and I don't think Mezada will want to stay in for long. Wow, over 1,000 gold to revive that fighter here at Gaia, so definitely not a convenient place to stay. Decides rightfully so to go ahead and just reset right back to Corneria.
Indeed, indeed. I mean, looks like we got a play from Trenton to check out what's in Matoya's chest with the ice sword getting there. That's a nice early game sword. In fact, we have seen runners in the past go and kill Chaos with nothing but an Ice Sword. And some Tempers and I think a Power Bonk, but it's basically the bare minimum I would consider to get through the Chaos fight.
Yeah, being unpromoted, finding an early Ice Sword is a lot of damage. Only the Sun Sword and the Masamune, of course, will actually do more damage than that, so that's a really great pickup early. Mezada stopping off the dwarfs, finds a nice chunk of cash in those two chests. We're going to get our first look at what Narek has.
Well, let's see how much...
And it's the floater!
Let's see how much Mezada has practiced on this one. And hopefully he knows about the early canal and the nice way to get to your Ryumaku Desert.
Yeah, again, Mezada being a newer member of the community, may or may not be familiar with the extended open progression and it adding the dock south of the Ryukon Desert. Hopefully he remembers that and knows that he can go pick his floater because that'll get him into the air and going quite quick.
I do like this play of going back to Cornair really quick. You know that the res is going to be cheap there. Stocking up on, you know, the basic essentials. A couple heal potions, some sauce, and some cures.
Yeah, importantly, being able to pick up a house is going to really help because without any other options for save items, we really have to be conservative and really pick how we spend our money in this early game.
Now, if I remember right, I did see cabins for sale at the Gaia, which is in the Elf location. And those were about, if I remember right, 304 gold apiece. So, I mean, still pretty expensive for save items.
Yeah, that's certainly a lot better than the 1900 that it's going to take us to get the houses. Hooray! As Trenton talks to the Hooray Dwarf there in the Dwarf Cave.
My favorite dwarf in the game. Definitely, in my opinion, worth the time to just take it, especially if you're having a bad tea. Talk to the Hooray Dwarf, you'll feel a little bit better, get focused up and get going.
See a couple of great faces in the chat. Azure joining us, Dark Moon and Falconic FF. Thanks for coming out and catching these racers. So far, we've got a little bit of a good start. We've got the ship from the king, the princess gave us the TNT, and then Narek handed over the floater for that coveted TNT. So we have a little bit of an open start to our runners. Not exactly going to say a jet seed, since we've seen some really pricey items for sale and some highfalutin towns between Gaia and Lefane being at Elfland and Provoca. Mezada heading up to Matoya's cave, gonna find that ice sword. He's gonna be pretty happy with that. So,
the good old ice sword, man. It gets the job done. And I mean, it's definitely one of those swords, one of those early weapons I just love finding in every one of my seeds. When I'm running a fighter, when I'm running a red mage, sun sword, ice sword, light axe, all great early game weapons for the, well, light axe for the fighter.
So Trenton runs into some Kaizoku on the open seas, trying to steal his money, but we made them walk the...
Yeah, those are actually really, really good for early game EXP, and since, you know, before this tournament, I didn't really get to do a lot of just these early ship seeds. It's really impressive that you can just grab the early levels before you may want to make like a marsh dive or something like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Kaizoku are necessarily a great option for EXP, but they are worth a lot of money in the early game. Being a very valuable fight, especially if you get those large packs like 4 to 6 and you have an AoE sweeper spell. Unfortunately, right now we only have Brack as our option to really take out single targets. The fighter finally wielding the ice sword is going to be able to do some damage, but Magic is a little bit on the flimsy side.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna be a problem since we've already found, you know, places with 7 and 8 levels, and it looks like at this point our runners will probably have to go out to the outer sea to find anything that's more suitable to use for a sweeper.
Oh no, it looks like Trenton actually took a wipe, has to go back and talk to Narek to get his floater again, but fortunately he's got it now. I'm really curious to see when our runners are going to go ahead and start heading over to Melmond and to the Ryukon Desert to pick up their airship. I think that could be a really big play for our runners.
I definitely think that the hooray dwarf, hooray! But I think that's definitely the play, because the sooner that you get airborne, the amount of time that you can just shave traversing the open map.
It looks like Trenton is prioritizing taking some of these early fights. I think this is a really smart idea. Get yourself some extra EXP as you're going along, and it can make a big difference. Mezada, meanwhile, looks like he's going to go take a Elfland area grind, potentially.
I think he's going for those early cabins that I mentioned earlier, but looks like he's got enough money for some of them. Nope.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of cash. Okay, well, this is something we definitely don't see very often. This is more of a vanilla tactic where you focus on getting yourself some extra EXP and levels. This certainly can work. Curious to see how long he decides to spend on this. Oh, and Provoca is at Melmond. Fog 2 and Harm 3 available at level 2 White Magic, and Exfer if you're feeling a little frisky.
Well, we've already seen a tournament race being won before with a combination of Exfer into instant death, and I'm sure that the person there would gladly regale with me which spell it was again.
Meanwhile, Ice 2 Temper and Warp available at level 2 Black Magic, so we finally have some actual sweeping power as well as some map manipulation in the Warp.
So, unfortunately, Lamp is not instant death. It is just a meme for the community to enjoy Lamp, as it is a spell that doesn't do anything. But if you pick it up, apparently it's good luck to some runners. That is unconfirmed, though. Only circumstantial.
Alright, Trenton is fighting the pirates now, gets the Ice 2 off on Vicky's crew, and down they go. We'll see what he hands over.
Looks like Vicky is a fan of the bottle.
Well, that's great news. We've already found Gaia, so a quick check of the ferry is not going to take too long. I don't remember if Trenton has seen Gaia at Elfland, whether he decides to route that in on his way to pick up the airship or not, but it looks like he's going to head west. Going to prioritize that air.
But, yeah, no, getting to the airship is quintessential in my opinion. When you get early floater, that should be, if not your #1 choice, it should be at least behind just, oh, I'm going to check Moment really quick on my way out. Just because of how much time you save just going through the air.
Looks like Trenton picked up a healthy supply of cabins, so he is now going to be able to save a lot more frequently. And we've got Elfland at Crescent.
That is huge. Getting those early spells, going in there saying, I've got level 3 magic, I got potentially level 4 magic before you make one of your incentive plays. After all, we do have both Ice and Marsh on the table right now, because we do not have the canoe to get into Corneria. I'm sorry, Ordeals.
Looked like I saw Bane, and I think that was Lit 2 at level 3 Black Magic. And Ruse and Heal 2 for light level 3, We've got Fast, Lit 3, and Quad X available at level 4, so now we've really got some good spells. Mezada, with a little bit of path divergence, going to actually go attempt Marsh Cave.
Mez may not know about that. That is very true. I mean, Mez is a newer runner, and he may be thinking, I'm just going to go and check my incentive locations. I may need the canoe to get down to that Ryukon Desert. It shows like he's using some of the vanilla strats there by grinding outside of Elfland and whatnot.
Yeah, if Mezada manages to find the canoe down here in Marsh, that'll really help him out, make this feel like a much more viable play. If he doesn't, say he gets the crown or something, that could lead him on a little bit of a wild goose chase. So hopefully for Mezada, he'll find the canoe here and he'll get back on the right path. But definitely, this spring tournament already has shown a lot of surprises, so don't count your chickens before they hatch. We have a lot of race before us as the fairy hands over the slack.
We got a little bit of reading material, now we just have to figure out where Melmond is. And at this point, we really don't have any other towns that we can easily get to outside of Lefaine's location.
Well, we can check Lefaine, we can check Gaia still, and if people are feeling real frisky, they can get in that boat and check the Onrak location. Sarda hands over the Adamant, though, and that's a much faster...
We have Mezada still trying to get through. It looks like he's still on floor 1 right now. He's struggling to try and get down to the basement at this point of the Marsh Cave.
Yeah, he did manage to check the top floor. Looks like he didn't see a whole lot, so he went ahead and reset back out. Now he's going to dive the bottom floor. The thing that really could get in his way, if those wizards that are on the trap tile are unrunnable, Brack is going to be a very difficult clear to try and get them out, so that could be a big deal for him. Meanwhile, the blacksmith hands over the key, so that opens up a lot more chests for Trenton to check.
Getting that early key there is fantastic. You can just clear out Dwarf, never have to go back here, never have to keep that in the back of your mind. We are looking for 2 loose items in this flag set, so that's an important thing to do. And at that point, it unlocks the Corneria chest, it unlocks the Elfland Castle chest, and it also unlocks both the Northwest Castle and the Topher chest for quick checks if you want to make them all.
Alright, so Mezada has made his way down to the bottom of Marsh Cave. Has about 30 to 50 steps more to go to get himself down to the wizard chest. Looks like Corneria Castle has a little bit of cash in store for us, but not much else.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing from the elf chest, and as we have Mezada taking a death to the scorpions, they just whacked that red mage right down to the ground.
So Mezada has made his way to the room with the wizard trap tile, and they are runnable. Looks like he's... okay, there we go. He's remembered that he can run.
Well, that's a great find with the lack of... you know, level 1 clear. Getting a Thor's Hammer, that's a fantastic find for Triton in the Northwest Castle chest.
Yeah, that Thor hammer is going to take a lot of burden off these poor low-level mages and being able to clear out some of the AoE fights that we have to deal with. Gonna stop up by the Cardia Isles and raid a couple more chests before he decides where. Meanwhile, Mezada gets the bad end of some turn order on those wizards and has to make this dive again. So Darkmoon Firelight asking in chat, which rooms in Marsh have stuff and which don't? The way I always remember it is that there is a Z pattern that you can follow. So in this bottom floor of Marsh, if you ignore the top row, starting at the second row, if you check the far left, and then you go right one, and then you go down one, and then right one again, those 4 rooms will all have chests in them. And then if you want to be extra thorough, if you go all the way up to the top right room, that has the last chest. And that is the most efficient way to clear out the non-key-locked chests for the bottom of Marsh Cave.
That's a great tip. Another thing that I always recommend, again, for newer players is there are plenty of resources online. I do like Mike's RPG Center for maps. That is one I use a lot, especially for remembering Marsh Basement, because, again, that's one you rarely ever go to unless it's incentivized.
Yeah, definitely, if you haven't already, stop by the Discord and join in the community. We have new player resources aplenty. If FFR looks like the kind of game that you're looking to get into, we are more than happy to help teach the game.
In fact, the Duckling incentive, which I'm actually part of, I'm a proud card-carrying duck myself. I know that you're one of the Papa Ducks, along with the big mama herself, Moist Mogwai, and Tarnin, and they produce excellent resources for the community. And one of the things I always recommend is if you look back a couple of weeks in the earlier seeds, Moist Mogwai had made a Mogwai power sheet that has so much information that you'd ever need to run a seed, and specifically made it for each of those weeks for like the first 8 weeks. Tons of information there. Would recommend reading.
Alright, well, blink and you miss it. Mezada managed to get in and out of the room with the wizards and found the crystal at the bottom of Marsh Cave. So he is on his way out now.
Uh-oh. Did you see what Trenton just found from the old men that are off their meds? They found the canoe.
Yep, that canoe is going to open up a lot more of the world to Trenton. And unfortunately, we know that Mezada is not going to get pointed back in the right direction from this crystal turn-in. So he needs to remember that he's got the free canal out open to him, and start getting out into the world and make his way over to the Ryukon Desert. It's easy to look at mistakes and think, oh, how could somebody forget that? But we have a lot of new people in, and as well, this is a tournament setting, so nerves are at a premium. Definitely, even veteran runners have made plenty of mistakes when you go into a tournament. My match this week, in fact, definitely not my brightest moments. So it is very easy to psych yourself out, slip up, and we don't want to focus on mistakes. We're going to focus on the positives. So for now, Mezada's gotten his crystal, and he is on his way out. So, oh, I apologize. He actually took a wipe and has to go get his crystal again.
Oh man, Marsh Cave strikes again. I mean, with the amount of different enemies that you can find here, there's just bound to be something that just wants your head.
Meanwhile, Trenton has made his way into the volcano. Gonna do a quick armory check. There's a lot of chests here in Volcano B2, so definitely a good option for the early game, trying to find some gear, trying to find some...
Hey, look at that. Finding the power gauntlet in the armory. That is a huge find for Trenton there. The power gauntlet casts Saber on use, which increases both your hit rate and your physical swing power by 16. great item to find, unlimited uses, really is a carry item. Makes pretty much any weapon in the game good with enough stacks.
Yeah, it looks like Trenton's party is a little bit bare when it comes to the equipment. His fighter now has some armor equipped, but that's the only member that he's got equipped with some gear. Mezada back on the wizard trap tile, finds the crystal. He now knows that there's nothing else here in the bottom of Marsh, so he's going to get right on out of here.
Looks like Trenton just wanted the armory just for its loot and potentially money, so looks like he's going to do some shopping trips now with the extra funds that he's received.
Yep, certainly a common play that we see. Just dipping the armory, find those chests, find a little bit of early gear, and it looks like he's going to take a couple of these wild encounters outside the Crescent Lake area.
Betcha he's probably going to be looking for those EX feeds.
Yeah, Peds are a really good option. Some of these fights on the river actually aren't bad either. You can get a big pack of Caribs, for instance. You can get some extra EXP pretty quickly. And he's now showing the Ocho his equipment, so he is in fact looking to Dan that white mage. Looks like he's gonna go with some two-man strats for a little bit.
I do like the 2- and 3-man strats. If you are comfortable with the game, it is a great way to kind of pile in the experience, the characters that you think that you need. And right now, I mean, the magic hasn't really been showing that great, so it looks like he's really trying to go down just to 2, have a little bit of safety with the second red mage, and pile as much EXP on the fighter.
Yeah, two-man strategies are great for trying to funnel some experience points into some party members that you really want to power up quickly. We've seen plenty of two-man strats already, fighter and red mage, fighter and black mage. One thing I'm a little bit concerned about here is that the party members that he's killing off, looks like he's killing off, oh no, and we see 2 Hydras, and this is a nasty fight to take early. They do a lot of damage, and has to reset, so undoes a little bit of the work that he does. But if Trenton is trying to do a 2-man with, say, this fighter red mage, one thing I don't like about it is that the fighter and the red mage don't have a great run chance early in the game, so that could potentially slow him down and make him take a lot more fights.
As I once again want to welcome everyone, and we're about the 30-minute mark into this great seed run between Trenton GL and Mezada. This is week 1 flags. Both runners are 0-0. They're looking to make their stake into these Swiss flags today. Let's do a quick rundown of what we've found so far. So far, we have found out that we got this nice early ship from the king, and then the princess was a bit of a explosive situation. She had the TNT for us. We went and checked Provoca, which was Louvain, checked Elfland with Gaia. Then we got some Melmond location with Provoca, Crescent Lake was Elfland. We got the Narek gave us the key, Sarda gave us the adamant, the Elfland shop with the bottle, the Flary then gave us the slab. We found out the Gaia location was Crescent Lake, and the Marsh Cave Crystal. We found out that the Sages in Crescent Lake gave us the canoe, and we got flying on Trenton's side, and we're lagging a little bit behind on Mezada as he's looking for his next piece to get to the puzzle.
Well, Mezada just found the tail for turning in that crystal from Matoya, so as soon as he gets his airship, he's going to be able to class change. And that means a lot better equipment for that knight and potentially even the red mage. Trenton now has arrived at the Marsh Cave, and he's going to take a whack at it. And assuming he can get through, he is going to be pretty happy with his rewards. Class change is going to be a really big boon, especially with his two-man strats, and already having found some great equipment like the Dragon Armor for that. Right, so Mezada he's going west. Okay, so he seems to have remembered that he has the free canal. So he is on his way to the Melmond area and gonna find Provoca. He's gonna be pretty happy about that.
Good news is he's out of the inner sea. He's gotten everything he wants from it. Hopefully he grabs some good spells at this point, getting some ice, some temper, and some warp, which is going to be super useful if he wants to use a warp in the ice cave later on.
Yep, don't forget to give these great runners a follow. trintongl having been with the community a while, and Mezada being brand new to the FFR community. So definitely stop by their channels and show them some love. And speaking of new members of the community, we have a lot of new members of the community in this spring tournament race. So definitely very excited to see a bunch of people jump right in and get involved in their very first tournament.
I always love seeing a lot of new people hop in. It's great to see it grow, and it's really amazing to just watch them shave off so much time as they get better. Watching them from their early practices to their week 1 flags to their week 5 flags. I mean, you're going to see so much improvement between the runners and their execution, their knowledge of the game, and watch them make some really veteran plays eventually.
Trenton has gotten down to the bottom of Marsh and is getting the bad end of the business from these wizards. They are beating up his two-man party and has to reset all the way back to the Crescent Lake.
Oh, look at this. Mezada is hugging the coast on the way down. Hopefully, I think he knows. I think he knows about this dock down here. That's great. That is one of the benefits of extended open progression. It's also in open progression is that little dock there.
Well, the dock on the south side of Elfland is actually there in the vanilla game, so he's doing a quick bottle turn-in as he goes back to check to get his airship. I believe he has remembered now that he can go to the Ryukon Desert with just the ship. He's going to talk to the ferry, find his adamant. No, sorry. Ferry had the slab. And then go over and get his airship. So he is definitely back on the right track now.
Looks like Trenton decided that let's not go back to Marsh and decided to try and go dive ordeals from the looks like. Oh.
I think he's actually in the Northwest Castle, doing a little bit of a grind on these mummies, which is not a play we see very often, but mummies tend to give a lot of experience points in the early game for this trap tile being available to us. And if they don't have that much HP, some lit 2s from that Thor Hammer could really get the job done quick. Puff in chat pointing out the docks opened by the map hacks that we have done for the FF Randomizer's extended open progression are south of the Ryukon Desert, Onrak, and Mirage Tower. So all of those can be accessed by the extended open progression flags. Open progression allows the one at Onrak and Mirage, and extended open adds the one at the Ryukon Desert, as well as a walkable passage in on the left side, or the west side of the Inner Sea between Dwarf Cave and Astos, and the river system in between Volcano and Ice Cave. So Trenton reses up that red mage, doing a little bit of shopping before he goes elsewhere. Looks like he is going to give Marsh another go now. Meanwhile, Mezada has found himself on the bad end of Glance from the Sharks, getting his red mage petrified, and bypasses the dock to go check the town first from Mezada. Slickfinger's asking where was the floater. The floater came from Narek, and the TNT came from the princess. And since the king gave us the ship, we had the most of the world open to us very early in this scene.
Some runners would call this more of a jet seat because of how quickly you could get airborne. Like, Trenton's down to another 2 light warriors at this point, again, inside of that marsh cave. I mean, marsh cave, is it ever friendly?
Marsh Cave definitely tends not to be friendly. There are a lot of different enemies that can appear in Marsh Cave, which is one of the reasons that a lot of players really try to avoid the Marsh Cave dive. In this flag set in particular, though, often you end up having to go into Marsh fairly early, so in this case, we know that Marsh Cave is going to lead to Kale, so it's not necessarily a required check, but it's certainly going to be a welcome item for our runners.
I think that's also kind of the definition of the differences between the flags there, the differences between extended open and open, due to the fact that it's, you know, you have that instant access to marsh with extended open, with that river system change, and open you'd have to either get like a canoe or a ship to get down to the marsh cave, so it's definitely a difference in the flag there that kind of forces you into marsh a lot more.
Alright, Trenton has found himself back at the Wizards now. He's still going to try and fight them. Looks like he actually got in an ambush this time, so it's a very good turn order for him. Another cast of the Thorhammer, and down they go. So he has now got his crystal, and he's going to be able to warp right on out of it.
Well, he still has to get out through this first floor, so hopefully he can make its way out, but it's a short walk comparatively now. I do think that we have a Crescent Lake grind, yep, for Mezada. I do like this play. It's a great way to get some early levels, get comfortable, and then try and get into one of the locations that you really want to hit.
Yeah, with the early Ice Swords and Brax, I definitely don't mind this play. He's going to be able to take them out pretty quickly, so going to get himself a lot of EXP fairly early, and definitely trying to get some levels and some spell charges for these low-level mages is going to be a big help for him.
Trenton on the way to Matoya's cave and going to see that the kindly old lady has the tail, and quite a juicy tail for him. I'm assuming that he'll probably going to be just going directly north to Bahamut to get his class change and get going right on that.
Yeah, we found some great early game equipment for that knight. We already found the dragon armor and the opal armor, in fact, so that's going to be big for Trenton, as he's going to be able to take a lot more hits from that knight.
Question in chat, loose adamant to key? Actually, the adamant was being held by Sarda today, but the adamant, the key was actually given to us by that turn-in, though.
Yep, I see a couple new faces in chat, so we'll do a quick rundown. We started by talking to the Corneria Royals after rescuing the princess. We got the ship and the TNT. We turned that TNT into Narek for the floater. We found Vicky in Provoca over at the Melmond entrance, and he handed over the bottle. The bottle led us to the slab talking to the fairy at the Elfland entrance. Elfland entrance being Gaia, and we found the crystal in Marsh Cave, which gave us the tail from Matoya. Sarda had the adamant. The Crescent Lake sages had the canoe. As mentioned, that adamant turn-in led to the key from the blacksmith. A couple of other towns that we found Lefane at the Provoca entrance. We found Crescent Lake at Gaia. So we are off to the races.
And while you're giving that quick recap, Trenton did check the Oasis and found our shop item, which was the Oxyel for about 25,000 gil.
Always nice when you find that vendor item fairly early. Was he able to afford that purchase at this time? Oh yeah, looks like he is.
I would assume so after, checking this many chests, so.
Well, convenient. We just got the Oxyel, and we have found Onrak at the Onrak location. That also means we now know that Lefane is going to be Melman. So Mezada doing a little bit more sailing. I know he passed right by the dock earlier, so hopefully he sees that and remembers that he can go get his airship. But looks like first he's going to sail on up to the Onrak location. Slickfingers, he has the floater. He definitely turned in the TNT to get that floater. Hopefully he remembers that he has it. Right, so Trenton, while he's in the area, gonna go ahead and check out the waterfall, and we'll see what the robot has in store for him.
Oh, God damn it.
And Mezada doing a vanilla map check. Hold select and press B, and you can open up a map. And believe it or not, that map actually is updated with the real map layout, so it will in fact display the docks at the added locations.
That's a nice touch, though. I actually did not know about that map edit there, so that's really nice that you can actually just check it for the docks too.
Turns out the developers actually didn't even have to change anything for that. It is written into the code that it actually checks the real map layout. So regardless of whether you're playing with the FFR hacks or if you're doing some kind of ROM edit, playing a fan-made ROM hack, it will display the appropriate map for you.
Once again, just want to give a quick shout out since we do have one of the prominent members of the dev team, Meridian BC, in the chat. I want to thank all the members of the dev team for all the hard work they do, the volunteering the time to make all these individual different randomizers work and test, and it's just so much to enjoy for everyone. So really appreciate the work that they do.
Absolutely. Big thanks to Meridian and Nix and Entroper, Leggy Starscream, and many more in the dev crew. I can't possibly name them all right now. There's a great team behind it that are all working together to bring new features and new life into this old game that we all love. So big thank you to those guys.
As we have Trenton going into the waterfall room. And definitely looks like Trenton is repping some names today from the dev team, and it looks like fighters named after me for some reason, which is not good luck. But we also have Mezada in the Earth Cave, trying to dig that out a little bit now.
Yeah, unfortunately, he finds out that Earths are unrunnable today as he's trying to check this trap tile at the top of the Earth Cave 1. Finds a house for his troubles, and gets another random encounter and decides he wants to just reset. Oh, we found the rod from the robot in the waterfall. So we're really starting to put the pieces together now. We've got the rod, we've got the oxyale. We still need the chime and the cube and the loot as far as required items. But we've really got a couple of these pieces put together now for this puzzle, even though we haven't seen any of the loose items. Trenton trying to take this Frostgator fight on the river. It's worth a lot of experience points, but they're not dying to the Brack. He's going to have to switch to melee strats. That gets the job done. Well, 16 now for his Knight and 15 for his Red Wizard, so definitely starting to get up there. That Knight's going to now have some spell access, and it's going to be a really welcome sight. Mezada taking another one of these earth trap tiles. Not quite familiar with the trap tiles here. When you're watching this VOD back later, Mezada, that trap tile, tile right in front of the chest that you're trying to check is trapped. If you access that chest from the right side, you can get there without an encounter. So you can actually check the right side of that chest and then walk down and around the bottom of the room to get to the other chest without taking any forced encounters. Trenton, meanwhile, while he's in the area again, gonna turn in that oxyale to be able to access the Sea Shrine. Gonna do a little bit of a dive here, and gonna say hello to the ladies, it looks.
As we, like Trenton has done this class change, and he's, you also, yeah, going to see the mermaids at this point. That's an interesting play. I guess, trying to get those last couple items, maybe get the full clear. You know, sometimes you'll see some runners go straight for Kraken instead, and, grab those chests along the way, just in case they find the loose item on their way to get the orb anyway. But, I think with a two-man strat, this play makes a lot of sense. He's going to need probably some more levels to be able to really survive going at Kraken. Sure, he's got Brack, but Kraken does a lot of damage, so those extra levels are going to help him survive not only the dive down, but also the boss fight with Kraken himself. So I think these chest checks for mermaids make a lot of sense. Get some extra levels on the way, and really gear up to feel comfortable fighting Kraken. Oh, and he finds an Aegis shield for his troubles. That's another really great pickup for him.
Between that Aegis Shield, that Dragon Armor, and that Pro Ring, he is now resisting a whole lot of elemental effects. Dragon Armor is tied for best absorb in the game, but over the Opal Armor, it gives you Fire, Ice, and Lightning resist. That Aegis Shield protects from status as well as the Poison Earth element, and that Pro Ring is protecting from death. So that knight has a lot of resistances, vulnerable only to time, and I believe there's one other that I'm not recalling at the moment. Meanwhile, Mezada continuing his Earth Dive, getting himself a couple of levels, now level 9 on his whole party. And fighting his way through this this next Earth tile. Has found a black shirt here in Earth Cave, so while not a incentive pickup, that's certainly a very nice item for him. Trenton making sure to visit all the rooms of the ladies, saying hello to all of them.
The Light Axe is nice. It's another caster item, only good against the undead as it casts a Harm 2 spell on use, but it adds a little bit of AoE for that fighter. Getting another Pro Ring is always nice, and a gold bracelet as well, so...
Yeah, his armor situation is really starting to shape out. That gold bracelet and Pro Ring are very, very welcome for that Red Wizard. He's going to be a lot safer. Taking a long walk, and that last room has got soft potion and a little bit of cash for us, so not the best of finds, but you know, we have to be thorough. We don't want to have to come back, and anytime you skip chests, it can always loom in the back of your mind in these flags where you have 2 loose items that you know, what if it's in those few chests that I skipped? Oh, the Red Wizard takes a glance and gets petrified. So, Knight only now trying to fight through this, and runs away and gets out of the encounter, so we are safe.
Looks like we have Mezada on floor 3 of the Earth at this point, making their way down. I saw a black shirt pickup, I believe, a little earlier. So it looks like that those Ice 2 casts are definitely going to help out later on.
Yeah, he's going to be able to save quite a lot of resources now with his mages and have a decent options for sweepers. I don't recall if he's seen the Thorhammer or not. I don't think he's checked the Cardia Isles chests. Well, no, he hasn't checked the Cardia Isles chest because he hasn't picked up his airship just yet. Right, Trenton making his way to the last of the chests that he has to check, and runs into a Sahag fight. And these Sahags are always going to be unrunnable. They are tied to Bicky's pirate crew, and so as long as the pirates are unrunnable, these Sahags will always be unrunnable too. So no matter what, even with the randomizer, we have to fight these packs.
Indeed. I do like Mezada's thorough checking, though. He knows there's loose items out there. He definitely wants to go around and get everything, but I'm wondering if he's looking for his canoe at this point.
Unfortunately for him, he's hopefully going to have to remember that he's got a dock available to him. Because in this particular seed, the canoe is blocked by the airship, so until he heads over to the Ryukon Desert and parks at that dock, he's not going to have access to it. And and that could slow him down. Hopefully he'll remember. Trenton has finished checking the mermaid side and has made it back out of the dungeon safely, and has decided to pick up his black wizard now. Gonna run at least 3-man for a little while. I think this is a play because he wants the second Brat caster over trying to fight Crack.
I definitely agree with it, since it's, I believe, about 1/6 of a chance to work on Kraken 1, so, you know, the extra caster or Brat is just increasing your odds for each dice you can roll.
Yeah, the big issue is going to be seeing if Trenton is able to keep that Black Mage alive for this dive. Only with 72 HP right now, not a lot of HP if he finds any sort of nasty skill or spell down here. Or even just a bad physical attack from Wizahag. That Black Mage is in a lot of hurt.
Yeah, I mean, ooh, and that's unfortunate. Getting the 25% chance to hit that Black Mage in a row, because each mob is 50% likely to hit the first character, 25% for the second character, and 12.5 for each of the third and fourth characters on those physical attacks. That is unlucky to roll that 1 on the D4 twice in a row.
Fortunately, a couple of warp charges makes it a quick trip back to go to the clinic and res that Black Mage back up, and back to full health he goes.
We have Mezada fighting his vampire at this point, and trying to show him the light, and he gets the vampire down, checking the chest at this point. Finds just a silver shield.
Yeah, this is definitely not what he was hoping for out of that chest, but not a full waste. He's certainly gotten some extra levels while he's here. Level 10 now, and he's able to warp back out, so he's safe out of the exit. Might take a little bit of a stare at his menu and try and figure out what to do next.
So we have Trenton GL inside of the Sea Shrine at this point, making his way through that second floor onto the 3A and B floors, as I like to call them. Going down and trying to get to those stairs and try and make his way toward the Kraken. We have Mezada in the outer sea at this point, sailing around toward that Recon Desert, hopefully. It looks like he's cleaned off every location, it seems like to me at this point, of the inner sea, and cleared as much of Earth as he could without the rod.
Yeah, as long as he hugs this south coast, he should hopefully see that that dock and know that he can park there and get his airship out of the desert. Trenton's making pretty good work now, going on his way down, and made it all the way to the Sharknado floor, so just one more floor of chest to check, and Mezada has in fact remembered and found the Ryukon Desert. He is going to be in the air at an hour 38.
Could also be on the fact that Mezada was trying to play his opponent as well, because there are two different ways that you can always play the game. You can play the seed, or you can play your opponent. And I know a lot of the older players, the more veteran players, tend to skip Earth Cave as far as they can until they can full clear it, hopefully.
Yeah, Earth Cave is definitely a play that you don't see a lot of runners make. It tends to be low on the priority list, so that can definitely work as an early gamble. Unfortunately, this time it didn't pay off. He's now in the air, he's back on his track, and has gotten his adamant.
Now he's going to clean out the dwarf armory, find a little bit of opal armor, some gold, and a little bit of weaponry. But you know, I think the thing that I'm going to keep on my mind for either of these runners at this point is, what do we have for end tier? We're still missing those ribbons. We're still missing what would be deemed as a finishing sword. You could have the Masamune, the Vorpal, the Excalibur, the defense sword. Heck, I mean, you can make it work with the ice sword. The sun sword is another great option. But really haven't found much to that getting that end game progression at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we still have a lot of seed to go. I wouldn't be necessarily too concerned that we haven't found an endgame weapon yet. We still have 2 loose items out there, a lot of boxes to open, and we'll definitely find equipment on the way. Right now, though, Mezada is certainly got to be happy that he's back on the path. He's opening these chests. He does have the tail, so he's going to be able to get that class change in too, and he's already found the opal armor for his knight, so that'll definitely be a big boon.
Like, the Black Mage took a little bit of a beating in the last round, and now it looks like he's going to get them all healed up. He's trying to check these last couple chests on floor 4, the Sharknado floor. Let's see.
Looks like he's still taking these fights, so definitely going to be great for the EXP. Finally getting that Black Wizard some levels, and then we're going to be on to Kraken very shortly.
Looks like the Great Sharks today have just a ton of evasion at this point, because they keep just dodging the night swings there.
Yeah, definitely some of these enemies that that you normally encounter in the end game have some high stats, and if they roll high on evasion, that can be a real nuisance when you've got a lower level party. Trenton sees the katana, decides he wants to go back for it, but unfortunately has to take that trap tile again. But a quick brack and that shark is broken to pieces.
Fortunately, we don't have a thief turned into a ninja to use that sword, but I mean, it typically sells for a decent price if you're using it for funds.
Yeah, with the way prices roll, katana is usually a very valuable sell item, so I'm sure that he is not going to be disappointed about that. Mezada finding his dragon armor, big upgrade for that knight. Again, getting fire, ice, and lightning resist for that knight is a huge boost.
Yeah, between the dragon armor and the Aegis shield, you've got almost, I basically call it the silver metal ribbon. I mean, it covers a lot of your weaknesses. Especially if you pair it up with a pearl ring.
Darkmoon Firelight asking in chat, is there a experience boost for key items in this seed? There is. Once you get to 12 key items, you get 150%. And speaking of endgame swords, Tristal has just picked up the Vorpal. So that is definitely a contender for the endgame weapon, having a whopping 60% critical, being a very viable endgame sword.
Yep, it's a great sword to use. I'd definitely be happy finding it, especially with that power gauntlet to pair with it. You can definitely cut through a lot of enemies with it. Great enter sword. I'd feel much better if I was in Tritton's shoes right now, just finding any endgame sword with that power bonk.
Yeah, the nice thing with having that power bonk, in fact, too, with the Vorpal, the Vorpal is one of those weapons that the more buffs you can stack, the better and better it gets. That 60% critical rate is great. Unfortunately, the Vorpal's weakness that has a lower base damage when compared to, say, the X-Cal or the Mazmune, but you start stacking those Saber casts and you can do a lot of damage.
I definitely say that just because the Vorpal has a lower base damage than some of the other swords, I mean, other runners may have preferences for it, but I definitely think that Vorpals are excellent at boss killing. Especially when you start getting those stacks of Fast and Temper on them. Starts making up for that low base damage, and is really, really crucial, in my opinion, against high absorb enemies with low evade, because that's where the Vorpal really shines with its improved crit.
Alright, so Mezada is stopping by Crescent Lake, is able to pick up life for that White Mage now. That is actually blocked, Life 1 is, to the Red Wizard, so with Trenton having damned his White Mage, that might be an advantage that Mezada has. I don't think we've seen Life 2 just yet, so it's probably at level 5 here in Melmond. Speaking of, Mezada's going to check Melmond, so he will actually be the first to translate the slab.
But it looks like he runs into one of my favorite enemies in the game, the Tasty Steak, also known as a Tyrant. Some good EXP if you can kill them, and it depends on how beefy they roll. They're also well known for their traditionally pretty high MP defense, so if you got some good physical damage, you can cut right through it. Or if you have one of those non-elemental spells, it's super useful for them as well.
Alright, Trenton has made his way now to the Fiend of Water Kraken's floor. And at the hour and 8-minute mark, we are going to get our first look at a Fiend.
We're going to go up against the Calamari from Alamari, the fighter that you know from no other, the mighty K Honda. Now, I think we'll probably see some Brack strats here. I mean, that seems like the supposed to play here with a 1/6 chance to hit, and maybe some swings potentially. As we have the first Brack goes out, and we have it broken into pieces.
That first turn Brack feels great. Trenton is our first runner to light an orb. 108.50 right around. And there it is, Life 2 at level 5. So picking that up for the White Wizard, and the Red Wizard cannot learn it. So Life is in fact blocked to the White Wizard. And if we see a difficult endgame, that really could play a hindrance on Trenton's 3-man party, with him not getting as many levels for the White Wizard.
So Mezada had a encounter there with the flag Zozo Melmond. All desert tiles, the sandy tiles, are now encounter tiles. So you can actually get to the inn in Melmond if you follow the grassy path to the inn. That's completely safe if you want to avoid all encounters there. But it also is a nice technique if you want to, say, get an early Melmond in one of these flags. You can use those encounter tiles inside of a town and just kind of stay near a safe path to the inn and just grind there for a couple of early levels. Another great technique with these flags.
Yeah, I really love the addition of the Zozo Melmond. Giving a little bit of a shout out to Final Fantasy 6/3, depending upon your region, and the Zozo Melmond flag adding those random encounters. My kind of town was the catchphrase our developers gave it originally. Adds a couple of fun fights to it. You've got the pirates, you've got some undead hanging about in town, and if you get particularly lucky, you can see a wild vampire every now and then. As we're joined by another one of our developers in chat. Shoutouts to Nit__. Scored so nice, he scored it twice.
As we had Mezada translate his slab from Dr. Un, and now he's gone down and checked in Lufa land to find out that we found out that they're a bunch of bards, spoony bards with their fantastic loot. But definitely having Invis 2 and Cure 4, Knight, and Red Mage learnable are massive in my opinion. That is such value and such safety. Sometimes you get knocked down to that single fighter and you're saying, let's just go to the end and try and finish off Chaos. Getting that Cure 4, massive.
Alright, So we're at an hour and 12 minutes. Trenton's got a little bit of a lead. He's got one orb lit, but definitely there's a lot of action to go. Definitely don't count anyone out until a runner dot done. You never know in Final Fantasy Randomizer how a race is going to end, so Mezada is on the right path as long as he can make up some good time. With that loot, he only needs the cube and the chime. Oh, he hasn't been to Waterfall, so he also needs the rod as far as items go. But looks like he is going to go dive Volcano and try and light his first orb.
I mean, that is definitely a play in my opinion. We've only seen floor 2 so far, the armory floor, at this point, and I believe that Trenton also has skipped some chests here as he runs into the trap tile on the fire tile.
Hey, thanks to Zardia in chat for the bit. Thanks for joining us. Zardia, in fact, just got done with a race, him and Elastoid. So if you ask him nicely, maybe he'll tell you how it went.
With Elastoid jumping in, looks like we had some Zar RNG from the other race, but I'll have to check it later, as we are glued to the seat on this exciting matchup between Trenton GL and Mezada, as we're seeing our first look at this hairpin chest. Fortunately, it's just a cabin. That is definitely one of those chests that you don't see a lot of runners check. You know, the thorough runners, people who love to just check off everything in the book, some do that, but not a lot of people like checking that chest because of how out of the way, how many steps it takes to get to it, and the fact that you have to take a trap tile on that as well.
Yeah, so we've got Mezada trying to get his first orb lit. Trenton's trying to check off another one of those incentive locations. Gonna be our first runner to look at Ordeals. We still have not seen the item at Ordeals, and we have not seen the item at Ice Cave, nor have we seen either of our loose items this seed, despite how many things we have lit up on our tracker.
It is, it's just a lot of the unknown left in this run, so it's definitely gonna see how much chest density people make, but I think the big key item to see at this point, in my opinion, is finding a chime. Unlocking that Mirage Tower potentially, there are a lot of chests there, maybe getting a cube as well. That would give you a good insight on where your final loose items may be.
Speaking of loose items, Mezada is our first runner to find a loose item here in Volcano in one of the chests that Trenton skipped. He has found the crown. So that could be a potential advantage since we're not sure if Trenton will check those chests quickly in the future. So could be our first big advantage from his...
Yes, indeed. It's going to be our first big advantage at this point because we know that the waterfall robot has the rod, and we know that the caravan was our Oxyale. So that crown will lead us to something. At this point, we don't know if it's going to be the cube, if it's going to be the chime. It could even be our first ribbon, because we do have one incentivized ribbon.
Yep, so quick rundown for some of our runners who have joined the chat just recently. We found the ship from the king and the TNT from the princess after we rescued her from Garland. Vicky handed over the bottle. The blacksmith at the dwarves handed over the key. Narek gave us the floater. Matoya gave us the tail. We still have to turn in that herb. Elf Prince is MIA. Sarda had the adamant for us. The sages at Crescent Lake had the canoe. The robot had the rod. Fairy had the slab. Marsh Cave had the crystal. The Lefinish gave us the loot. We have not seen the item at Ice. We have not seen the item at Ordeals. The vendor item was at the Desert Caravan, and it was the Oxyale. And we now have one loose item located, the crown from Volcano. We have one more loose item out there. Our towns today, Provoca turned into Lefane, Elfland turned into Gaia. We found Provoca at Melmond. Crescent Lake turned into Elfland. Onrak was Onrak. Gaia showed out to be Crescent Lake, and Lefane was the Melmond, turned into Melmond.
Mezada is now checking out some elf magic, picking up all of his level 4 spells at this point, as we have Trenton on the final floor of Ordeals making his way around. Seeing if he finds anything in these first 3 chests, and doesn't really find much. But we have 4 and an incentive, and he finds something massive right now. He found the defense sword.
Yeah, decent defense sword, able to cast Ruse in battle. That's 80 evasion every round for casting it. So the max evasion being 240, that adds up very quickly. 3 stacks of that, in fact, will get you a max evade character. So definitely a great pickup.
Definitely one of those end-tier weapons I would recommend. You find the defense sword and the power gauntlet, I feel pretty confident that I can finish with darn near anything with enough levels. I mean, that is a massive find in my opinion.
Yeah, importantly, Trenton also swapped over the defense to his knight and the Vorpal on that red wizard, so oh, maybe he's actually using the ice sword, looks like. But he finds the cube in Ordeal.
So we have one of our incentive locations checked off at this point, along with the Marsh Cave, so he's making his way back to his airship. I'm only going to assume that he may go back and start checking either the ice cave at this point, or he could go and finish off one of the other locations like the volcano.
Yeah, with the information that we now have, there is a 50-50 chance that Ice Cave is a required dungeon. Either Ice Cave has... Well, actually, no, that's not entirely true. I guess it's a 1 in 3 chance that Ice Cave is required. Because we still need to see what that crown turns into. And Ice Cave could have the ruby, the ribbon, or the chime, or an herb that turns into one of those 3. So, or it could be the loose item, the second loose item that could be a required item.
I mean, there's just a lot on the table at this point, and this is, in my opinion, starting to get worrying because you know how many dead ends are there, and you're wondering, is that ice cave, that incentive location that I may be counting on at this point, is that going to be just one of those dead ends and just say, no, you may have, warp trick to check this chest, but now you got the full clear.
Well, importantly, if the crown turns into the chime, we know where all of the other items are. So Mezada might be able to get into a situation where he can skip looking for that second loose item with all the key items available to him. Whereas Trenton might have to dig for that crown. And again, he looted a good portion of Volcano 2, but not all of it. So it's difficult to say when exactly Trenton will go back and try and check some of those chests.
Looks like Trenton is just burning off an encounter before going in. He must have his step counter knowledge, using it to try and get past a couple of the more annoying enemies and try and get a long run into this ice cave dive. As we found our first loose ribbon on Mezada's side, that is a huge find. That ribbon, the best in slot head armor in the game, gives you resistance to all elements, 1 absorb, but that resistance is worth their weight in gold.
Anytime you find a ribbon, that's a great pickup. A lot of runners will find it pretty much mandatory to get 1 or 2 ribbons before going into Topher. It really depends on runner preference. Some people like to really dig for that second one, want to feel just a little bit safer. Some people take their chances with just 1, committing to the dive a little bit sooner. But definitely having 1 in the bag already is a big help. As Trenton is making his way into the ice cave and going to use that warp trick to show us what's in this incentive chest. And it is the ruby.
And it's quite a gem of a find, unfortunately, as we found one of our dead ends on this one. And maybe this crown, this slight advantage that Mezada has right now, will pay off with that chest that Trenton did not check inside of the floor 2 of Volcano.
Yep, so there's a 50-50 chance now that crown leads to the chime, and a 50-50 chance that that crown leads to a ribbon. So if it happens to be crown into the herb, into the chime in particular, that could be a really big pickup, as only ribbons would be left as loose items at that point. And given that there's 3 in the pool, you never know if a ribbon that you find in a loose chest is actually the incentive ribbon or not.
Volcanic making a good point there. There are still 4 chests inside of Titan's Tunnel. They're not checked that often. But if there just happen to be a chime shuffled in there, that would be a truly magnificent find.
Yeah, we still need 1 loose item to answer Volcanic's question. What was the second loose item? We have seen the crown loose at Volcano 2, but we have not located a second loose item, to be sure. Alright, Trenton making quick work, and Mezada is checking the red D chest, so being very thorough here, making sure to check all of the chests while he's here in the volcano. Trenton checking these last couple of chests in Ice Cave, and is just about done with his dive here. Unfortunately takes just a little bit too much damage on that Red Wizard. Red Wizard goes down, and it's just the Knight left at this point. Red Wizard on Mezada's side also goes down. Trenton finds the white shirt here in Ice Cave, so that's another really big pickup. That's now the defense and the white shirt for Trenton, so he's really going to be able to stack those evade charges very quickly.
Yep, that defense sword casting Ruse, which gives 80 evasion, the white shirt casting Invis 2 on the entire party, which gives 40 evasion. You're looking for a max evasion of 240, so that'd be 3 defense swords or 6 white shirts. But with a mix of 2, or, you know, using some early cash, you can get 3 rapidly charges of evade on 1 character if you really want to play defensively.
So Mezada healing up and going to take on his first Fiend at, call it, the hour and 25-minute mark. He's going to give us our first look at Carry.
As he's going in, he's got the power bonk going in with some Invis 2 charges from the White Mage, going in, fasting the Knight. So he's going in, Carry, swings, puts Poison Touch on the Knight, but didn't hit that hard, it looks like, as he gets some evade stacks going on that Knight. Here we go, a fight command for that Knight, Invis 2 coming out. We got Temper going out from the Black Mage, as he's going to start swinging into Carry for some damage at this point. We have an Ink cast from Carry, doesn't do much, swings in for 6 hits for 357 damage. Lots of damage coming out on Carry. Carry can't have that much HP at max up for this Carry fight, as he swings again and kills him.
Yeah, it was really great work by Mezada, stacking those buffs early on, and using that power bonk charge to make sure to get the extra attack before he swings into Carry. It always feels bad when you get bad turn order in the first turn, and the fast goes off after you swing, so definitely some great...
Indeed. We have Trenton going back into the volcano and going to check some additional chests that he's skipped before at this point. So it looks like he's going on the way toward that hairpin chest immediately.
Yep, so this is really good news for Trenton that he's remembered which chest that he skipped. And if you're a Mezada fan in this race, unfortunately a little bit of bad news is Trenton is very likely to find that loose crown that he skipped earlier. But Mezada is on his way. He's going to go check out the Ice Cave now.
both of these runners getting close to the 1 hour and 30-minute mark. I mean, you gotta start wondering where your opponent is. One orb lid apiece. It's really actually quite close. I mean, we've got a couple more checks on Mezada's side that Trenton has done at this point. The Waterfall Cave at this point, and the Ordeals check are the two that I've seen. But we haven't seen Trenton go and complete his turn-in at this point, I believe, to Lufa Land to get his loot. So that's going to be a short turn-in, but it's still one that he has to make.
Yeah, it's definitely going to take a little bit of time. I can't say that I necessarily blame him for not wanting to... Well, I guess he's already gone and translated this lab. He just hasn't actually talked to the Leffidish people in the town of Provoca. And there it is. He has picked up his crown. So he is up on the loose item count, tied with Mezada now, as he continues his dive into the volcano. And Mezada gets his way into the floor with the incentive chest. Here, let's see if Mezada, a new player again, remember. Let's see if he's familiar with the warp trick.
I already saw it. It's like he's already slowed down. A common flaw is over-inputting and falling into one of those holes. Is familiar with the warp trick. Well done on his part, well executed.
Yeah, it's really great coming in and seeing these new runners who've been watching the previous races, been hyped about FFR. They're really starting to get into it, and they've definitely paid attention in the races that they've seen. So it's great to see a new player come in and already know some of these tricks.
Another little thing. I gotta thank the dev team for speed hacks, but I also gotta thank the dev team for letting me hold that B button and slow down. Sometimes over inputs can really mess you up, and you know, that little bit of slowdown and kind of make sure that each input's going through worked just like a charm for Mezada. Great move on his part.
It's actually kind of funny. Back when I started, it used to be reverse controls. It used to be a dash button rather than a brake button. But a member of the community, and you'll forgive me for not remembering who, it was pretty much right when I joined, so I was still getting used to people's names. Aston said, you know, we have the airship, and the airship starts out going fast and has the ability to hit the brakes to slow down a little bit. Why can't we do the same thing with the Light Warriors running on the ground? And the devs decided, you know what? That's a really great idea. So we got it implemented.
Yep, definitely great work again from the dev team on that one. Listening to the community, making adjustments, and it makes a lot of sense. I mean, for the most part, you're going to just want to go as fast as possible. So, being able to slow down is a more useful button just to have the extra input for. So, wonderful work from our dev team. Really appreciate all the work that they do.
So Trenton picks up his ribbon as Mezada's finding his white shirt. So great pickups for our runners. I'll be very happy about that. Smartly moving that opal bracelet over to the red wizard, as he now has a white shirt and a black shirt equipped on his two wizards. So definitely taking advantage of the armor that he's got. And Mezada is doing a dive. Gonna go check out that eye, see if it has anything dangerous, and it goes down really quickly.
You know what? I'm thinking he already knows about the warp trick. I'm thinking what he's going to do is he's going to take some quick EXP off this eye grind, get some levels really quick before he goes to another place and going to warp back up to get to the exit. That's a brilliant maneuver from this new runner.
Yep, this might be a rookie, but he's definitely making a veteran move here. So this really could benefit Mezada quite a bit. Getting these levels off the eye, I think he's got the 12 key items. Yes, he definitely has his 12 key items, so he's definitely getting that 150% EXP boost. So this is a great timing for Mezada. Not only getting this eye grind in, but getting his grind in after he's got that key item boost. So definitely making full advantage of this seed. These extra levels are going to help him really accelerate through the other dungeons that he's done. What I'd really like to see him do now is hit up ordeals, turn in that crown, and potentially, well, he's also got to go hit up the waterfall. But if he hits up his incentive locations rather than trying to focus on loose chests, that could really put him into a position where he can really go mode the rest of this game.
Indeed. I mean, getting through those couple of dungeons, I mean, Ordeals is relatively, let's be frank, it's a shorter dungeon. I mean, it's still a dungeon at the end of the day, but it's still a shorter dungeon. And then both that and Waterfall, I consider to be kind of about half dungeons, considering the tools that he has available. And especially once he has some of these levels, he can kind of skip right through it. He is not that far behind Trenton at this point. You know, it is really close. And the fact of the matter is, if Trenton... Oh, Trenton is going to turn it in. So he's following the chain now to get to this crown. Like, there was a point there. If he didn't go to that crown, and instead, I've got the rod, maybe I go and check that Earth Cave. Wow, that would be something too. Because we know Mezada has checked the first 3 floors of Earth already.
Yeah, at this point, I expect Trenton's probably going to do some quick key item turn-ins. We're going to see what that herb turns into. So either this herb is going to give us a ribbon, or it's going to give us that chime.
And it's a ribbon. We have a loose chime, Shadow Walker.
Alright, so at this point, it is a really big question of where that chime is. And based on the checks that Mezada has done, I have to think that chime is going to be in the second half of Earth Cave. Because we've already seen a full clear of C, and we've seen a full clear of the first half of Earth Cave, but not the second half of Earth Cave. And a full clear of Volcanoes. So it is either in the second half of Earth, or maybe some key-locked marsh chest.
Key-locked marsh is on the table. Did we see any of our runners actually do key-locked TOF either?
You know, I don't think we've seen key-locked Temple of Fiends, so there are still a couple of key-lock chests that we could have. The second half of Earth Cave that it could be. So, hopefully, if Mezada manages to kind of pick right after he does some of these incentive turn-ins, he could really get himself back on the right track and make up a lot of ground. He is a higher level. His party is definitely going to be safer now. He's running 4-man strats versus Trenton's 2-man strats. And he's got comparable levels.
I mean, we see Trenton starting to do his digs of the Earth at this point. Since he's looking for that loose item, that makes a lot of sense. Now, unfortunately, those first couple floors are just not going to pay out, only because we have the stream knowledge of watching Mezada do it. But, wow, this is time at this point for Mezada, and time is valuable at this point.
So there's Mezada's Thorhammer, and Falconic FF in chat yelling at us, remember Titan's Trove. There are still, in fact, 4 chests that we have not checked, given that they were ruby locked, and Trenton GL has not gone over to pay the Titan a visit. So if Mezada manages to check the Titan's Trove, and that's where it happens to be, that could be really big news for Mezada.
At this point, I mean, you do have a lot of power behind you, as we found that black shirt was in Earth 1 in the double chest. So Trenton now has his black shirt, now has that a little bit of extra resistance for his black mage potentially, and an ice 2 cast item.
Looks like Mezada now going to make a play at Ordeals. We know he's going to get his cube here, so this is a required dungeon. So he's going to be very happy to find that. Trenton, meanwhile, going to have to check all of these chests here in Earth Cave, as we now know that second loose item is in fact required.
Again, still could be on Earth floor too. That's another option for it to be in. So there's still a lot of things on the table. Finding that early key really opened up the gates on where that chime could be. The good news is we know one thing. Can't be a Mirage in the Sky because we can't get in there.
Yeah, we somehow have a loose chime in Mirage or Sky. Entroper's got some splaining to do. Etap asking, the loot was from Lefane, right? Yes, loot in fact was from Lefane. The ruby came from Ice Cave, and Ordeals is going to have our cube. Mezada making good work of this pillar maze. A couple of great guesses, and he's made his way through. Didn't take much time at all. Meanwhile, Trenton says no thank you to the second encounter on the Earth Trap Tile. Decides to just warp back out and run it.
We have Mezada making his way through Ordeals. He's going to find his defense sword at this point. And going to be going to the zombie dragon trap tile and that delicious cube chest.
Yep, as well as that defense sword. So, again, another great pickup for him. Our runners now having done mostly overlapping plays. Trenton didn't really find that much in Mermaids or in Sea Shrines, so at this point, if Mezada manages to find that loose item before dipping into Sea Shrine, he could make up quite a bit of time.
The other thing is, at this point, I mean, Mezada still needs to find an Enter sword. We did find the Vorpal inside a sea, but it depends. If he goes and finds that chime earlier, he may go and do a dive and try and check some more chests for an endgame sword for his fighter. I mean, you can make the defense sword works great too. That's a great end tier sword if you just want to use defense with the power bomb. Also a great solid option.
Yeah, you're right. The Vorpal definitely was at Sea Shrine, so that definitely could be a good pickup if he decides to dig there. We will see what Mezada decides to do. There's into a couple of sandworms, decides he does not want the tasty XP and he's going to move onward. So Mezada going to check the... he has not checked the caravan just yet. So that's one thing that... oh, he has remembered. He's going to park his airship, knows that he can park his airship there, and is going to check the oasis and find that oxtail. That's one step closer to the end of the puzzle. Let's see if he decides to do Waterfall first or Sea Shrine first. I have to imagine he's going to do both of them while he's in the area, so it's going to cost him a little bit of time because we know that the Sea Shrine does not happen to have the progression that he is looking for.
So, question from chat. Alastoy has named his party members 3 people in the dev team, 1 after me. Alastoy, did you see how the bat blocked him over and over and over and over again? I am not made out of luck. I am made out of salt. I think that's your answer.
E-Tap says, the bat is unhappy because he didn't get the blessing of the Belfry. We did see Out of Bounds Bat, though. So maybe we'll get blessed by a second encounter with Out of Bounds Bat as on our way through Waterfall again. Meanwhile, Trenton is up to the vampire. Say hello to the vampire, and there he goes. He is gone.
As we see our first checks of the floor 4 of Earth. Not much yet. Bat is being batty. And top end has nothing. Warps back out.
Yep, so there's 3 more chances for the loose chime to be here in Earth. Otherwise, it is one of the few chests that's either blocked by the Ruby or potentially the key-locked Temple of Fiends or Marsh Cave. Mezada taking a couple of these encounters on the way through the waterfall. They're with a very good amount of experience points. Waterfall is a great dungeon to take some levels if you need them. And with the ribbons and gear that he's found, he's pretty safe from some of these spells and skills that we're seeing.
And we just saw it. Earth 4 is a bust. It is not here.
Alright, so place your bets, chat. Where do you think that this loose chime is going to be? Do you think it's going to be blocked by the Titan and his ruby-crazed obsession, the Temple of Fiends keylock chests, or the Marsh keylock chests?
Well, you know where I'm going to bet it's going to be. It's going to be in that nasty place called Marsh Cave Keylock.
Alright, Mezada's made his way through the waterfall, gotten his rod from the robot, and is going to warp his way out and save his progress. Meanwhile, Trenton is on Lich's floor, gets stopped by a couple of oozes on his way, but he is about to light his third orb. Lich is made of paper, and that's no joke. Gonna temper up that knight, throwing out that defense, 4 hits for 247 damage, and that's it. Lich had no HP.
And those purple robes were just scattered in ribbons across his floor.
Alright, so Trenton gonna check those key-locked Temple of Fiends chests. Top right has 2 chests, so checking those first. And while Mezada making his way into Onrak, gonna go check out the Sea Shrine. Top right of Temple of Fiends is a bust.
Have the check for the bottom right. Let's see what it is momentarily from Trenton's side. And it is also not in Topher.
So this actually surprises me. Trenton going to check the Marsh chests first before checking the Ruby chests.
Well,
Trenton never checked the top of Marsh, either.
Yep, that looks apparent at this point. That or he may have forgotten that he checked it, but we'll see in just a moment. And nope, he did not check the top of the Marsh Cave. I mean, that's a standard play to make if you think that, you have most of the things you need at this point, and what's the likelihood that you get 2 out of the 6 items that are going to be required for your completion of the game? After all, you need 6 items to complete the game. You need the Mystic Key, you need the loot, you need the rod, the oxyhill, the cube, and the one we're all looking for right now, the chime.
I can't say I particularly blame anybody for skipping the top of Marsh. It's only 4 chests, so it's not a great likelihood that there's going to be something up there. So I think grabbing the incentive and just keeping it in the back of your mind as something that maybe you have to come back to later makes a lot of sense. Question chat, where's the loot? And chat accurately pointing out our tracker, Dark Moon Firelight, first time tracking, points out that the slab translated turned into the loot. Big thanks again to Dark Moon Firelight, volunteering on the tracking tonight.
Stepping in when needed, both you and Dark Moon in the last couple minutes to help me out tonight. I really appreciate both of you guys being here and watching and commentating and helping out on this wonderful seed tonight of Final Fantasy 1 Randomizer. Week 1, Trenton GL, Mezada. 0-0. First one to get a win. See who goes into that first 1 week win.
Alright, Trenton has caught up to the Marsh checks now that Mezada has checked. Now he's just got to check these bottom couple of chests in the Keylog Marsh area. Meanwhile, Mezada finishing up his chests of the lower Sea Shrine on the way to the Mermaids. Pretty quickly going to find his Vorpal, so he will have a stronger endgame weapon. Not necessarily as strong of base stats as the defense, but a 60% critical would push me to use that over the defense. First finds the Aegis Shield though, so definitely a great pickup for him.
I definitely consider the Vorpal inside my big 4. If I get one of the big 4 being the Masamune, the Excalibur, the Vorpal, or the Sun Sword, those are the ones I'm looking for. They get it done every time for me. And finding any of those is definitely a good sign, in my opinion, for the seed.
Alright, we've got just 2 more chests in the bottom of Marsh to check, as Mezada works on talking to these ladies here at the bottom of the ocean. One chest left to check. And it's the Flame Armor! Chat calls it. Titan's Trove has the chime.
Me so hungry. Now let's see. Does Trenton know?
Trenton's stopping and thinking about it. Trying to remember what he has and hasn't checked.
If I remember, Vorpal was in Sea Shrine going toward Kraken. I believe it was on floor 4, the Shard NATO floor. I don't remember which chest though, unfortunately. I believe it was bottom left.
I think it was. I think it was on the way to Kraken. Mezada quickly warps back out, saves his progress, and is going to go back in.
Get your om nom noms out, guys. We have a fed Titan today. And there she blows. We have found it. Inside of a ruby required seed to get to the Titan's Trove chest, we have found the chime, and Trenton GL is the first runner to be in go mode.
Alright, so definitely gonna have to pay a visit to the Welfare Queen today, as the Titan is lovingly referred to by some of our community. And we are off. Trenton now just needs one last orb going into Mirage and Sky. We'll see if he decides to stop by and check any of these chests. We know that the Mazamune's still out there. We know that a Ribbon is still out there. So we will see if Trenton decides to stop by and check any of these chests.
Oh no, I think Trenton has forgotten. He has not gone to Lefane. He's still checking chests at this point. Oh no, he's pulled the loot gag. Oh no!
Oh, that could be really bad news. And he's already translated the slab. So the slab is going to be out of his inventory. He may have forgotten, and that could be terrible news for him if he has.
That one's on me, Dark. That one's on me. I called the go mode. I forgot about the loot. I forgot that he didn't turn it in immediately. He had the airship. So, oh, goodness me. But he does find the Masamune.
He's definitely going to be really happy with that. Masamune has the highest base stats in the game. The only thing that it gets beat by is critical rating from a weapon like the Vorpal Katana. But otherwise, it can be equipped by anybody, even unpromoted. Definitely one of the strongest weapons in the game.
It is definitely what I deem the most versatile weapon in the game. With its high base stats of damage, it is very, very effective against any sort of enemy that is low absorb. Just cuts through them like butter. And it also is pretty decent against high absorb, high evasion enemies, where you have them so evasive that you need to roll a crit anyway, because you really want that strong base damage to get through.
Alright, so let's see if Trenton decides to stop checking chests now that he's found the Masamune. If he remembers that he's translated the slab, then he's in good shape. He won't need to check any more chests. He has all the items that he possibly needs to finish this game. He just has to remember that he's already translated that slab and go talk to the left finished people. Rtea SRL pointing out in chat that crits have no impact on evasion. That's right. So just because an attack rolls critical doesn't necessarily mean that it will be able to automatically land. But in a situation where enemies have high enough evade, where the only things that will land are rolls that are also guaranteed to be critical, a weapon that is going to do more base damage tends to do more damage than a weapon like the Vorpal that has the higher crit rate.
Indeed, indeed. Exactly correct. Because you have to first hit the mob first, before you decide how much damage you do.
Alright, so Trenton's still checking some of these chests. He's gonna find some decent gear if he continues checking chests, but gear isn't necessarily what he needs at this point. All he needs to do is go turn in that translated slab, which, again, ooh, and there's the Excalibur, so now he has a lot of weapon options available to him.
Also skipped the Zeus Gauntlet and found a second katana in the not equals room, the less than greater than room as well. But I'm honestly thinking at this point, Trenton has pulled a classic here. Translating the slab, it's out of your inventory, and you didn't go to Lefane right off the bat, so it's out of mind, out of sight, out of mind. And I just worry at this point with him checking all these chests, he's probably going to end up full clearing all of the sky at this point.
Well, if he does, that gives Mezada a little bit of room to catch up here. Hopefully for Mezada's sake, he manages to check that Titan pretty early. And not spend a whole lot of time digging, say, Earth 4 and going to the keylock chests in Marsh and whatnot. That opens the door a little bit for Mezada to catch back up. And again, if Trenton sticks to this two-man party and not getting any levels on that White Wizard, we found that the White Wizard is the only one who can actually cast Life or Life 2. The Red Mage and Red Wizard were both unable to cast Life or Life 2. That is only White Mage, White Wizard. Yeah, Falconic bringing up another good point. Maybe Trenton just wants to get some levels, and the reason he's checking all these chests is because he wants to get some experience while he's in the area. That could be, and that could make a lot of sense. The enemies in Sky are just very, very lucrative when it comes to EXP.
Now, the good news is, though, that Trenton has now found his third ribbon at this point, so that's always another nice find, but with only the 2-man, you're really only using 2 of them.
Yeah, but if again, he'll probably resurrect some characters for the Temple of Fiends dive. And there it is. Mezada has found himself a Vorpal. Another great option for the endgame. Trenton being very thorough, checking all of these chests here on the spider floor. So we will see if Trenton keeps checking all these chests, or how long it takes him to possibly remember that he just translated that slide.
I think another thing to make a point here is I don't think Trenton actually picked up the Excalibur.
That is correct. He saw the Excalibur, but he decided to skip it. He's not worried about it, it looks like.
Yeah, and he also skipped the Zeus Gauntlet as well in there, but it's definitely an idea there. You've already found the Masamune. Something that, you know, I'd like to do personally is, again, just put the Excal on my knight. It's the only character that can use it anyways. And then put that Masamune on the Red Wizard. That way you have at least 2 fighters with beefy swings.
Yeah, with a 2-man strats, that definitely makes a lot of sense to me. The Excal getting bonus damage against every enemy type in the game, and the Masamune having great stats means that both that knight and that Red Wizard can be swinging for a lot of damage. I mean, you see that that knight swing for 652 damage there, but that Red Wizard is definitely gimped when it comes to the physical stats, only swinging for about 150. Sure, that knight would be swinging for less damage, but I think it would be more damage overall for the party to spread out the physical attacks.
We have Mezada entering into the Kraken fight, get some early casts out onto the knight, some buffs, some invisibility, some power bonk, as Kraken fires a Fire 2. Remember, we haven't seen anything from Kraken on Trenton's side because he bracked it first turn, first cast. So now he's going in. Going to use some more white shirt at this point, going with the tried and true method of buff up, then swing. Gets slept, swings in. 6 hits for 326 damage. Another white shirt coming out. And we have a temper going out on the knight. Another swing, fight action coming in. More tempers, more white shirts. Let's just try and buff up this knight, try and carry us through, and make some sashimi today. Getting some more evasions up. Here we go. Another swing in. This time, for a 7-22, Kraken is down. Who wants Takoyaki?
Yeah, Mezada might have been using a little bit of a slower strategy than the Brack, but it's a guaranteed strategy. You don't have to worry about the Bracks not landing. Those buffs are permanent. They're going to last the rest of the fight. And he's really done a great job on his first 2 Fiend fights. Now lights his second orb at the 2-hour mark.
As we have Trenton checking out these 3rd floor of Sky, these 4 chests in the north, finds a wizard staff. Casts Confuse when used. It's a nice item, especially against certain enemies like Carry 1. And what the Confuse status actually does is that creature will cast the spell Fire on itself.
Or another enemy in the combat, but yes. Alright, so Trenton taking a couple of blizzards from these man-cats, and that Red Wizard's getting dangerously low on HP.
Oh no, it's a trance dance party. Both characters are now stunned. The man-cats are trance revolutioning into a Thundercats ho! Red Wizard goes down.
This is a slow and painful way to go. Does manage to escape from the fight, although he is now down to just the knight. He's going to have to solo the rest of this dungeon. Finds some mana cores, but gets a first strike on them, so he's able to escape without any harm. And Trenton has now checked the last 4 chests in Sky, and he has not seen the loot that he is looking for. So hopefully he remembers that he has translated that slab. He has done an entire full clear now of all the chests pre-Topher.
Question in chat, is Warmech required in this current seed setup? No, it is not. Warmech is vanilla, so it will be just inside the encounter tables on the Bridge of Destiny. But if you do want to see a Warmech sighting, you may want to get your Bless RNGs in chat right now. If you want to see the Deathmatch against this solo fighter at this point, one Kyu against the world, going into that final floor, hopefully.
Yeah, Warmech has already blessed quite a few runners in this tournament, and really wants to make his presence felt and wants to earn that spot as mascot of the tournament. Reminder again that we have some polls for the Final Fantasy Randomizer Spring Tournament, so if you want to vote and determine who you want to be the Spring Tournament mascot, or what you want to see as the bonus party, the 4 forced character bonus race, get those votes in.
As we're going in, looks like you get some runnable airs. Definitely not a thing that you typically want to see. Those airs can hit quite hard, as we have Mezada in his Earth Dive, as we find some nachos, and he's going through.
Alright, links in chat there for the bonus party and mascot voting. So if you want to determine either the mascot or the bonus party, definitely go vote.
We have 2 swings. It's A and Prey at this point. We are at about 400 damage into Tiamat at this point. Tiamat having a decent chunk of EXP in this flag sit, as it gets a nice crit for 359. Swings in another 115 at this point. About 900. Gets another swing in. It's a crit, and Tiamat goes down. The one knight does it, as he gets his air orb lit, and he's the first to have all 4 orbs, but it's still missing that loot.
Episode just down to that knight. That knight does manage to get through. So again, just got to go pick up that loot, and as long as he remembers that it's Lefane that he hasn't been to pick up that incentive, he's in good shape. And it looks like he is accurately stopping at Lefane, so making the right stop.
And with this discovery, trintongl is our first runner to get into Go Mode!
So Mezada at this point needs to finish up Earth Cave, go light his Earth Orb, and he's got to go talk to that Titan. So as soon as he talks to that Titan, he'll be in a better shape. He'll be able to go into Mirage in Sky and catch back up. Remember that Trenton with his 2-man strat still does not have access to Life or Life 2 for his 2-man party. So he is going to be in a little bit of a dangerous situation going into Topher here. So definitely Mezada still has an opportunity to come back into this race if we see a nasty Topher.
Yep, with now they may have some decent absorb at this point, but those HP pools for those 2 mages, that black and that white, are very, very low at those levels. Some glances of any sort of AoE spell could just wipe them off the board.
Looks like Kativ joined late. Welcome to the party. We are at the 2-hour, 6-minute mark. Mezada is lighting his third orb. After he finishes this Earth Fiend, we will do a quick recap, get you caught up, and figure out how tonight's journey went. 6 hits, 284 damage out of that night, and down goes Lich. So for those of you joining in late, we had the King gave us the ship, the Princess gave us the TNT, Vicky handed over the bottle, the Blacksmith of the Dwarves gave us the Mystic Key, and Narek gave us the Floater. Matoya had the tail, Astos had the herb, the Elf Prince gave over a ribbon, Sarda gave us the adamant, the Sages in Crescent Lake gave us the canoe, the Robot in the Waterfall gave us the rod, Fairy handed over the slab, March had the crystal, Lefane had the loot, Ice Cave had the ruby, Ordeals had the cube, the vendor item was at the caravan and gave us the oxale. The first loose item we located was the crown in Volcano, and the second loose item, as Mezada picks it up, is the chime located at Titan's Trove. Alright, so Mezada makes up a little bit of time, doesn't check the keylock chests first, he finds the Titan's Trove, he finds the chime. So, if he can quickly get himself through Mirage and Sky, he can get right back into this race, if this is a nasty Topher.
Go Mode Sky is not the shortest out of the 4 orb dungeons, but a Go Mode any dungeon is still relatively fast. At this point, assuming a good clear, I would say probably only about 7-8 minutes behind.
I think if you're really trying to go through Sky as fast as possible, you could probably get through in maybe about 6 minutes. Possibly a little bit faster if you get a really good run on the encounter table, but I would say with average encounters, and looks like Mezada is checking some chests, so he is going to find the Mesmoon here on 4-1. If he stops after that, he could definitely get through Sky in a good amount of time.
As we have Trenton running into some unrunnable Chimeras and Chimeras as he's going through on his run through Topher. He's already lost that Black Mage, and again, with no life spell, no rezzing.
Yeah, this is a very tough spot for Trenton. Without having HP on those mages, they are in constant danger in this Topher. A physical attack from just about anything is going to be a lot of damage. So, definitely not a safe position. If he gets ambushed by, like, a Badman pack, they do so much damage.
As we have a level 30 Knight from the looks of it, from Trenton's side. And, looks like Mezada is getting some unrunnables on their own, getting a little bit of the Saber Tigers and the Medusa pack here, which is gumming it up right now.
Yeah, that Knight is about level 30, and gonna have some good HP, gonna have some good MDef, and has a lot of resist here. But importantly, I don't think that Trenton has equipped a ribbon on that Knight. So, still vulnerable to a few spells out there. And there it is, Mezada has found his Mesmoon. He has the highest base attack power in the game weapon, and immediately equips that on that Knight. Let's see if he continues to check chests like Trenton did, or if he's going to try and just go through this dungeon as fast as he can.
Definitely a question to be answered at this point. Decides he wants to take a couple more experience fights. It's a 5-pack of vampires. If they're relatively squishy, it's a decent fight to take, and with some Thor hammers, some light axes, should clear it out with a couple of sweepers.
Yeah, we did see a 237 damage critical hit from that Knight, so vampires definitely have a little bit of HP, but they have a lot of experience points behind them, so definitely understand wanting to take this one. Meanwhile, Trenton GL finding himself on the bad end of the Rock Golem punch. Not too much damage targeting that Knight. About to give us our first look at a Temple of Fiends boss. We're almost to Lich 2 as he gets a pack of 7 Garmadeuses. Decides that he is not interested, gonna just run on out. A moment of pause, healing up his party, paying Lich a little bit of respect today. He knows that he has a low-level party and knows that this is not going to be a free Topher.
Looks like
5 hits for 398 damage. Another temper comes out. It's just punching so far, nothing too dangerous. 5 hits for 540 and down goes Lit. Mezada, meanwhile, fighting some whiz mummies over in the Mirage Tower. Gonna need to put a little bit of a foot on the gas to start going. Looks like he did not check the less than greater than chest, which is good news for Mezada. He really needs to really put on the pedal to the metal and try and catch back up.
We have Trenton on the fire floor, making his way through to carry at this point. Runs into a couple Agamas. I believe that those Agamas have a gaze attack, if I remember right, but let's see if they get to it. But nope, they don't.
Swinging for some big damage, and down go the Agamas. Not going to block Trenton for too long. Going to heal up and give us our first look at carry 2. We saw nothing out of Lich, so we still have a lot of dangerous skills and spells, and we have not seen Warmech either.
Using some more of these temper charges, they've got to be starting to feel valuable, and how much time do you want to use on them? You're trying to get through them. You have the power bonk, but you're, you have limited resources at this point. How many white shirts are going to go out, and we're going to see if he swings for any sort of damage against Carrie, how much absorb she has. 2 hits for 2 damage, so that red wizard is not going to do much, and only 31 damage. I think we have a high evade Carrie at this point, with only 1 connecting swing. With a nuclear coming out from Carrie, Carrie has gotten the final solution on this one of nuking the world, hitting into this party, making that white mage go down to 1 knee.
We have a raid from Tristal MTG with a party of 4. We are on a nail-biter here. Trenton is in Topher. Mezada is lighting his 4th orb. We have a high evade carry with crack now. Nuclear and crack carry.
Did not put on the ribbon. But puts the power gauntlet on his red wizard at this point.
Yeah, I definitely understand putting the ribbon on the knight. Oh! We are blessed by a shiny metal robot on that Bridge of Destiny. Mezada has seen and escaped from Warmech. So, I was noticing something else while we were fighting that carry. I looked at that Red Mage's spellbook, and I did not see a fast spell at level 4. Looks like Trenton has not picked up fast.
Looks like he's also swinging into this Phantom at this point, but he gets through it. It was a runnable Phantom this time. Not always the case in our randomizer, but loots through, and he's going down.
Alright, so Mezada doing a little bit of healing before he takes on the last of the 4 Fiends. He is now on Tiamat. He's going to power bonk, throw out the fast, throw out the white shirt for some Invis 2, and throw out a temper. So we're doing lots of buffs. The knight's going to do so much damage next round. We have mass immune, we have fast, we have a temper, we have a bonk charge. We are charged up, we are ready to go. Swinging out, we're throwing out more tempers, and Invis 2 comes out. And Blaze from Tiamat. We didn't see this before, I don't think.
Trenton runs into the Chimeras. The Chimeras wipe out his 2 mages, and he's like, nope, I've got to make some adjustments at this point. Quad X coming in for Tiamat. And erased! Terminated! And Mezada has caught right back up.
I love it. Mezada, a new player in this tournament, has paid attention to races, knows the value of Quad X, saw that he did about 900 damage with that first fighter swing, which is a ton of damage, threw out the Quad X and takes Tiamat down. So ladies and gentlemen, we now have a race on, both of our runners ready to go into Topher. Mezada has the advantage, he has the levels, he has a higher level White Mage with charges of Life and Life 2. He has all the spells he needs. Deciding whether or not to do some shopping, but it looks like he's going to go right in. I did not get a good look at it, exactly how many heal potions he has.
I don't know myself either, but he looks like he's just going to try and go for it at this point. He's not taking any of these fights at this point. He says, I think I'm good on EXP. I want to just kind of keep going through.
He's been taking a solid amount of fights this whole way through, so he has some good levels. He has good gear. And Mezada right now is has the tempo advantage. He is the one diving Topher. Meanwhile, Trenton is rummaging back through, checking out the spells that he has missed out on. And, okay, he is going to go over, looks like, and pick up fast. So, definitely that'll be a big boon for Trenton. That was something that he was missing on his first dive.
Definitely seeing the level difference right here. I mean, those cremates didn't hit for much, but the other thing that is so important that Mezada has right now is Life 2. Instantly picking up that red mage, back up to full health, back in the game, not out for this dive.
Yeah, a reminder, this is Mezada's first tournament race. This might be his first SRL race. I don't know how many practice races he got in, if any. But Mezada is a brand new rookie player looking to make a splash here, and is in the driver's seat right now in this 0-0 match, looking to be 1-0 at the end of this. This Chimera fight is unrunnable, so he has to take this. But this is going to be worth a lot of experience points.
Got Trenton burning off an encounter before he goes in. He is only a couple minutes behind Mezada at this point. Looking at a total of about, I believe, 4 floors at this point.
Valletta in chat is asking, what happened to Trenton? Trenton forgot to put a ribbon on his knight and took a nasty crack from carry 2 after taking a nuclear, and down went his knight. That led to him wiping, then he decided to go do some shopping, and Mezada is caught right back up into this race. Finds a couple of Gasties. Looks like he's going to take this fight, try and get some extra levels on that White Mage and Black Mage. Get them a little bit more HP and maybe some more spell charges.
Trying to make a quick adjustment, trying to see. He saw that we had some dangerous fights here. Wants the extra utility from those extra characters, and I like the plays on the adjustments as we have Mezada in an Earth unrunnable fight. Got 4 of them. That's a difficult bargain because they're just really tanky today for him, so.
Alright, finds himself a Gurm Medusa pack of 7, decides to run away, doesn't want the experience, not interested in burning off resources, he just wants to go.
Again, using his resources, the extra casters that he has, the extra spell charges, trying to get through, getting some cures in there, using up some heal pots. Again, it looks like he's pretty low on heal pots at this point. He didn't restock before he went for his dive, unfortunately.
Yeah, that could cost him. He does have a lot of Cure 4 charges. But unfortunately, you don't want to be spending too many of those, as that does eat up into your battle healing resources. If he can take out some of these early Fiends pretty quickly, it hopefully won't be too big of a deal for him. There's a Black Shirt, a Temper, Lich retorts with Ice 2 of his own. We know that this Lich doesn't have too many HP. And all we saw him do was punch, and 5 hits for 424 damage. Not even strongly buffed, just a single temper charge, and that Lich goes down.
Showing the power of his knight there, swinging that beautiful sword and cutting down the Lich with one go, getting a couple buffs off, playing it safe and steady, as Mezada has done this entire race, going with this buff strat on all these bosses.
Alright, Mezada is on carry 2. We saw this as a road blocker for Trenton. We'll see if Mezada fares any better. He does have a more well-rounded party. His knight might not be as high of level. Oh, zap! And down goes the knight!
Let's see what adjustment he makes at this point. What does he have on his other characters? Is he going to switch to his red mage being his physical fighter? It looks like this is going to be the case. Says, this is the adjustment I'm going to make. My red mage is going to have to carry me through this fight. As he's going in, getting some more evasion charges going out. Carry is coming back, swinging into the red mage. Luckily for Mezada, that carry does not hit that hard. Only 27 damage coming into that red mage. Getting another temper stack in. Looks like he's got the ice sword equipped at this point. As he gets another white shirt in, he swings in for 104 at this point. Blaze comes out. We know what's coming soon. So not only does Carrie have that crack, not only does Carrie have that nuclear, she also has zap in her pool, getting more temper charges in at this point, burning these resources that he has, swinging in, seeing how much he can do. He decides to use some heals to make sure that his party is a little bit more healthy. He's got to start getting in this damage in soon, because we know that nuclear timer, it's coming, it's ticking away, sand's running out. How much are these mages going to be able to absorb from it? Tries to go for a stun from Carrie. Carrie cannot hit on the stun. That red wizard survives through that, does not get stunned up, swings in. 5 hits for 253. Says that's good enough. We're going to have to just grind through her at this point. Black Shirt doing some chip damage for 23. Another 21 damage. Again, this high evade Carrie coming into play here. Only one of those swings hit. 3 hits for 103, 4 hits for, I believe it was about 400 damage, as he's trying to get in, kill off this carry.
Fortunately, Mezada hasn't seen too many skills. Another 4 hits come out, 250 damage. Cure 4 goes out, Slow 2 comes in. It's going to reduce the number of hits that the red mage has. The fast is no longer in. And Nuke! Nuke on this carry as well!
So we have Nuke, Zap, Crack, and Nuclear on this high evasion carry with a decent chunk of HP, as she fasts herself too. It's not often that
very dangerous spell list.
Not often that I say this, Shadow Walker, but I think we have a gatekeeper carry at this point.
Yeah, it's easy to underestimate a fiend like Lich or Carry, even the Lich or Carry 2s. But sometimes they're rolling nasty, and it looks like Mezada did get zapped through a ribbon on that night. So the 3 and 256 striking back.
Man, that is rough at that point. Oh goodness me. Whenever you get memed by the 3 out of 256, it's an option on all characters, but it's just like, that is a rough situation to be in.
So Trenton GL working on trying to get back to Carry 2. Mezada now knows the bad news that Carry 2 is in fact someone to be not someone to be trifled with, and we will see how our runners adjust for this fight.
But I mean, with that carry death, Trenton GL has reclaimed the lead as he is on the fire floor and making his way to that gatekeeper that we have so grown to love in this past 20 minutes.
Yeah, at this point, this is a very dangerous fight for both of our runners. Fortunately, there's a lot of spells that are in the tank before that nuke comes out, but we know that is there as a timer. And with the crack and the zap, that can be a big danger if one of these knights takes the bad end of a 3 and 256.
Looks like he's gonna say, yeah, it's time to buff up this knight. You know, that black wizard surviving on 1 HP against that fire run, and he's going in. 5 hits for 496 damage. That's a lot of damage right off the bat before that fast charge comes in. So, here we go. Another evasion stack's going on. He's gonna try and just go full offense, full bore into this carry. 293 at this point. So we've done about 800 damage to carry at this point. Going in, another white shirt charge. We're up to 3 evasion stacks at this point. Another swing in, only 3 damage. That red wizard just isn't getting it done, deciding to save some of his resources. He wants to hold on for later. Now, 292 as he's going in for the zap. Zap does not take out any party member at this point. Another white shirt, 4 stacks. We're over the 1,000 mark at this point. That carry is a beefy carry today. Swinging in with the knight again. Going for that damage. Going to try and finish off this carry before she gets very scary. Heal home. Healing up the party. Dealing with the chip damage. Ice 2 comes in. Doesn't wipe out any of the party members. Another temper. Decides we need a little bit more damage to get this done. Swings in with the knight. 5 hits for 582 damage. Carry goes down.
There we go. So not just a dangerous skill and spell pool, but a lot of HP. As we see on Mezada's side of the screen, Cure 4 out of Lich 2. So Lich holding the Cure 4, not very dangerous in this situation.
We found out that Lich 2 only had about 500 health, but getting that out of that pool means that that is definitely one checklist that I don't have to worry about on those later Fiends.
So Trenton now getting through the first gatekeeper. Are we going to find a second? Is this Kraken 2 going to be nasty? Is Tiamat 2 going to be nasty? What skills and spells does Chaos have? So a lot of questions to answer and a lot of dangerous things that we could see in the...
Besides, it's time to sacrifice the meat shields. Puts up both his white wizard and his black wizard to the front line to offer up to our Lord and Savior, Kahana.
Yeah, I can't blame this play. That black mage is likely not surviving to the end anyway. Gonna try and get that fast off before we can, before he goes down. Gonna throw out a temper, some invis 2. Gonna throw out a defense.
Oh, good lord.
Yes, throwing out a defense.
Good lord, 10 hits for over 1,000 damage? Kraken be whacking today. And it's also Octopolis now. We have our second nuclear sighting. But he swings in with the Masamune. The Kraken is dead, but not before taking a brutal blow to Trenton's run.
So Kraken is an absolute glass cannon this time around. Low HP, but really high damage between a very high physical attack and a first turn nuclear on the skill list.
Decides to make the adjustment. Put the power gauntlet onto the knight. Decides I've had enough of having the extra defense from those pro rings. Going in. Decides to use the defense sword at this point, trying to save potentially a charge or 2. And decides to want to go a little bit more defensive by just using as many evades as possible. That knight has 3. The other 2 characters have 1.
Yeah, definitely wanting to get that power bonk over to the knight for Tiamat 2 and onward. These last 2 Fiends can have a lot of absorb. Not today, though. 6 hits, 508 damage. Big damage. And Mezada has made it through carry 2. Mezada is onto the water floor as Trenton is fighting Tiamat 2. We have a serious race on our hands. 8 hits, 647 damage. Down goes Tiamat 2. Trenton has made it through the 4th Revisited Fiend, and now just has a short walk and the final boss ahead of him.
We have Mezada trailing behind. He's entering his Kraken fight very shortly as Trenton is healing up. We're going to follow the action here on Trinton's screen as he's going into his final Fiend encounter while still watching Mezada. Mezada working his way through. We do know that Kraken is packing some serious beef from his arm strength, and also a nuclear. Decides to make the veteran move, hides the Knight in back. Trinton also hiding his Knight in back. Getting some nice stacking up right now. Trying to get the defense sword up, nuclear comes out. As Trinton pulls Chaos, the final Fiend. Going in with the buffs. The evade. The evade charge is coming out. Strong and fast. Fast comes out onto the Knight. The white shirt comes out. A defense sword comes out. Chaos does not seem to be hitting that decently hard. I mean, it was only, I believe, about 122 damage. Fire 3 comes out from Chaos, putting down that black wizard. We are no more tempers coming from that black wizard. Swings in, 8 hits for 212 damage. Another white shirt. Decides we need to get a little bit more beefy at this point. Lightning 3 comes out. Again, Trinton doesn't know where that Cure 4 is. He may be thinking, hey, Chaos may have it at this point. Stop comes out on these two characters. Nothing happens. He got another white shirt coming in. More power bonks. We're up to 2 bonks, and this is the third temper coming in. Swinging in. 9 hits for 589 damage. He is getting quite beefy on this Knight. This physical power is stacking up at this point. Again, careful. Tempering in. Nuke comes out from Chaos. We have Nuke on Chaos. That red wizard is on one knee. Swings in. 9 hits for 1,903 damage. Trinton GL is our first place finisher tonight. Killing off Chaos. GG, Trinton.
Oh no, and Mezada accidentally resets.
Oh.
Mezada had made it through Kraken 2 while we were calling that Chaos fight. And resets, but like a trooper, looks like he's going back in. Falconic in chat pointing out, Mezada has played this very well. He might be a new player in this tournament, but he showed that he knows what he's doing. He has played the seed very well, made a great comeback. Unfortunately, took that nasty wipe to carry 2. But Trinton is our first place finisher.
Looks like we got Trinton. I'm going to go ahead and pull him in here very soon. See if he wants an interview. And as we're seeing, Mezada just a couple floors behind. In fact, he was in the lead at one point. As we're going to be pulling in our good friend Trinton into the room to get a small interview. As we're joined by Trinton, how are you doing, my friend?
I feel a little better. Third time was the charm. That Topher did not play nice with others.
It definitely didn't. So you managed to get in there first. You had the lead going into Topher. Mezada still needed an orb lid. And you got through Lich, and you found a bit of a speed bump there at Carry.
Yeah, would have felt better if I had had everybody up, but just the way this worked out, the magic was just atrocious in this seed. Could have had White Mage at a higher level for life, but the White Mage would have been hard-pressed to live through the Topher anyways, so I don't think I was really giving anything up. It just took a little better preparation the third time, and once I knew what I needed to do, which was kill carry faster, kept the Black Mage alive, got the fast off, and that I figured would carry me. Primarily, I was disappointed in forgetting the old Lupa Lupa.
We noticed that. We weren't sure as you were going through the sky if you had remembered that you had translated the slab or not. And we saw you get to the end and take a little bit of a pause. Looks like you kind of went through the memory banks and you remembered, oh yeah, I've translated it.
Yeah, I knew I had done the slab at some point. It's just I didn't remember. I forgot that I didn't actually go back to Lefane. And that just took kind of looking at the item menu a few times. Like, okay, am I sure I missed something? Yes, I definitely missed something. Then I didn't think of it probably till I was on the Bridge of Destiny. And I'm just trying to think in my head as I'm walking, what did I do? What did I not do?
Yeah, so this seed opened up in what seems like a very nice, friendly way. You got the ship, you got the TNT led to the floater. What were you kind of thinking at that point, when basically the whole world opens up to you right off the gates?
What I would have thought it was a faster than a 2.5 hour seat. Which maybe it was if I didn't have to full clear sky. But, it's... What really the seed was telling me was this was a seed to 2-man. I don't know where May is right now, but I don't think you could do this with a low-level knight. I don't think a 20 levels knight was good enough for this Topher.
Well, Mezada is level 23, 24-ish on his characters, and he had gotten through Kraken 2 while you were fighting Chaos, and then accidentally reset his game. Just a bit of a mismenu there, wrong button or whatever it was. But had to reset, or accidentally reset, and then is working his way back through. But he was making it. His white wizard was staying alive, and he was able to res his party members.
The res definitely would have made a difference. It's hard for that white mage to live in here with how many things were critting for as hard as they were. I couldn't one-shot fires with a level 30 fighter with Black Masa on. That's remarkable that they were that durable. And then you got stuff like the Jamiras that were unrunnable and just critting for insane amounts.
Yeah, definitely not a friendly Topher. And you saw the crack and you saw the nuclear from Carrie. That was not the only thing that Carrie had up her sleeve. On Mezada's side,
in there too?
Oh, she had nuke, she had zap. Mezada's knight got 3 and 256, took a zap through a ribbon, and that nuke was just cleanup after that.
I did see zap. That came out the second time, but I had moved the ribbon back over to the knight. I thought I had gotten cracked through a ribbon, but actually I had still had the Pro Ring on at that point, kind of counting on that to cover everything between Dragon, Aegis, and Pro Ring. But second time through, I wasn't messing around and I moved the ribbon over.
Alright, well, we've got Mezada back on Carry 2, speaking of the devil herself. White shirt comes out, power bonks up that knight, gonna do a little bit more damage now. We're throwing out the chip damage. We got a Thor hammer for 27. Red mage swing, 2 hits, 2 damage. Blaze comes out from Carry, 32-64. Lots of damage for the party.
Carrie had a lot. The thing that surprised me was how little HP Kraken had.
Yeah, it kind of seemed like Carrie and Kraken kind of reversed roles on the HP department. Carrie had, over 1,000, and then Kraken had at most 800.
I think the other thing of note on Carrie was how evasive she was. I mean, I was seeing multiple times where you'd only get like one swing in.
I mean, it makes sense, because if the knight was hitting her, he would just tear her HP apart. That was what I was set up for this Topher, in light of the spells just being as unfriendly to me as they were. I had planned a 2-man nest from the start. It just wasn't set up for either the white or black mage to be a good second party member, so defaulted to the red mage.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to ask you about, you went ahead and full cleared Sky, and you saw the Excalibur. At any point, were you considering maybe picking up the Excal and swapping to Excal for the Knight and Mazian for the Red Wizard?
I was not, because I already had Vorpal, and I was thinking Red Wizard with Vorpal, even though I forgot to ever actually equip it.
Fair enough. Alright, Mezada making his way through the water floor. He's almost back to crack.
These items pick some interesting places to hide, but the water floor wasn't too bad, so I think Mezada's going to get through here fine. Also, let me give a shout out to Randomania. Thanks for hosting us this evening. And a big thank you to Kiyusuke for doing the restreaming. Got set up to do that first time tonight. So thank you much. And Dark Moon, our first time tracker too. Props to you.
Yeah, we've had a lot of new faces in the community. Dark Moon on the tracking, Mezada running tonight. A lot, in fact, of our runners in this tournament making their first appearance. We had a lot of people kind of come out of the woodwork. They've been watching Final Fantasy on the races, and a lot of people signed up at the last minute for this tournament. So it's great to see all these new friendly faces come in and just dive right in and really get their feet wet. So we're on Tiamat 2 now. We've got Temper, Fast, Power Bonk coming out. We've got a White Shirt coming out of the White Wizard. I'm going to stack all these buffs. Tiamat 2 just opens up with Fire 2, so not that much damage. I'm going to switch over to the Black Shirt from the Black Wizard. We're going to Temper up the Knight again. White Shirt again. Starting to swing now. White Shirt comes out, another evasion stack, doing some chip damage to that Black Shirt. Tiamat misses the Black Wizard, and wow, 7 hits, 757 damage from the Knight. And down goes Tiamat 2.
Very veteran fight there. Mezada did great in that fight. Just everything you should do.
That's actually something that Mezada has been making a great showing of. As this has been his first tournament race. And he's shown that he's been paying attention. He knows the warp trick. He's been stacking all the buffs, making all the smart strategic plays, moving his Knight to the back row for these big fights. He's done a lot of things really, really well.
And he's doing the same maneuver that he's been doing a lot of the time, which I like. He's doing his standard buff strat, get it done on every single fight. Come on, Mezada, let's end this up as he's buffing up the Knight and pulling up the Chaos. Chaos does whack his Knight first turn, unfortunately, but he hits back for 596 damage, a big hit from the Knight. Nice, huge hit. More temper charges. Getting a Cure 4 on that Knight, making sure he's hearty and healthy, so we can start finishing off this final Fiend. Getting more evasions, more tempers, again, buffing up. That Black Wizard does go down to the Fire 3 charge. That's from Chaos, but he's swinging back in. 10 hits for 1630. GG to Mezada, cleans off Chaos, and gets his clear of this seed.
Alright, we are going to see if Mezada wants to come on in to do an interview with us.
It's a terrific effort. Looked really good in the sections that I saw.
And we are joined now by Mezada. Mezada, congratulations.
Hey.
GG on your first tournament race. How did that feel?
It felt pretty rough.
Joined now by Mezada. Mezada, congratulations. GG on your first tournament race. You actually joined us very, very recently after the YouTube exclusive stream, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, so you have not been with the community very long, but you've seen some of these races. You've definitely been paying attention and watching. You know, we saw some rookie mistakes, but that's okay. You'll learn from those. You'll watch the VOD back. You'll get better. But you did a lot of things really right. You have definitely been paying attention. You used the Warp Trick and Ice Cave. All of your boss fights were stellar. Absolutely top-notch performance. You did everything right on those boss fights. So, GG. Feel proud of your first performance.
Thanks. It's just that I forgot that dock at the desert for so long with that floater. I went all over the world looking for what to go to.
You know, if we're going to make a mistake, make it the first week of the tournament, get it out of your system. You're not going to forget that next week.
No, I'm not.
I saw a lot of good plays from you in that Topher when I got to see it, so I got a lot of confidence in you. I think you're going to win at least one of these.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. I was like, oh man, he's still not done. Chaos must be really evil.
Not Chaos, but the rest of Topher was a little bit trolly to me.
Carry, first round, zapped my fighter. The first go around for me.
It was crack in my case, and I had no life spells, so instant reset.
Ouch.
Well, I'll wrap up by just, again, saying thank you to everybody, and hope you enjoyed the race. Hello, YouTube, and thank you, Randomania. Thank you, Shadow Walker, Kyusuke, Dark Moon, and Mezada. Thank you for a good game.
Hey, yeah, thank you, everybody, for watching that fun, long race. Sorry it took so long for us, but my first run, and appreciate all the help I've been getting.
Thank you, Kukazuki, for putting that Randroid command out there. Give these runners a follow. Mezada, his first tournament race. Trenton, a veteran that comes out of the woodwork for these tournaments. Definitely show them some love and support these runners, and definitely pay attention for their further races in this tournament. Mezada, I think you are going to enjoy watching this back. Don't beat yourself up over mistakes. That's the big thing to take away. Look at what you did well, because you certainly did a lot of things this seed very well. Do you have any final thoughts for us before we wrap it up for tonight?
No, I think that's, hope they're not all this bad going forward, but it was fun. I enjoyed it.
I think you guys showed an excellent showing. You know, we had some nasty situations, we had some good situations, and what we saw was brilliant growth from a new player. Trenton completing the seed, running into a very difficult Topher with some two-man strats, and a great seed to watch for anybody in this case. And I am so honored to be able to sit here and commentate for that. I gotta give a big credit to Shadow Walker for joining me in the booth, and Dark Moon for tracking his first race tonight. So a lot of new members from the community shining tonight.
I want to give one more big thanks to Randomania, broadcast partner for this race. Thank you for hosting us. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to bring this to the audience. And I want to give a big shout outs to all of you in the audience. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we hope that we were able to provide some great entertainment for you. I am Shadow Walker 227, and Kyukazuki, take us home.
I'm Kyukazuki from the Duckling Studios and Yar Pond over. From all of us in the Final Fantasy I Randomizer community, may the light of the four orbs watch over us all.